seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of the Smoke Lounge here on the Fins Tailgate. And before we get to our guests, let's talk about Backroom Collections. Artwork, visors for your mini helmets, great gift ideas. Go to backroomcollections.com. Use the hashtag TFTG and get 10% off your first purchase. It is great stuff, whether if it's your office, your living room, wherever you want to hang your Dolphin pride, Backrooms Collections is the spot for you. And then we also have W Energy Drink. Of course, you know my favorite is Calio Cream. You put some here in your Cabernet, boom! You have some wine energy. But anyway, so let me talk about the newest people here. We got El Capitan coming in at nighttime. We got Color and Ali doing the morning thing. And, of course, Ali doing his late night XL. We got the newest members, KP and my man Crypto Dolphin, into the fold. And, of course, myself and Lewis, we are doing the Smoke Lounge and then the drive times on Fridays. So y'all check this out, man. This is going to be a great season, a great lineup. But now let me introduce my guests. Let me exit solo. I got a few here. What is up, everybody? Let's start with you, Touchdown Tyree. Tell us about a little bit about yourself to our Fins Tailgate audience.
What's going on, everybody? Touchdown Tyree, that's me. I'm also known as Ty Bless. And I'm into music, but I'm also a huge Dolphins fan. I'm an admin at the Dolphins Den on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, 5,000. I think we at 5,000 now, right?
5,000. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Shout out to Tori and everybody, all my peoples, that we keeping it busy. Yeah. We keep it real over there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm an admin as well, so that's how I met you, man. That's why I love having you up here.
So, thank you, baby.
No problem, man. KP Crypto, welcome to the fold, man. Y'all have some bomb ass logos, man. By the way,
I appreciate it, Shake Money. Thanks a lot,
What's going on,
man.
KP?
It's been a pleasure.
Hey, nothing much, man. Hey, on the team, happy to be here. A long-time Fins fan. A little bit jaded, a little bit negative, but Mr. Negative took my name away from me, so I just go by KP. So,
hey, listen, we all. Hey, listen. One thing I like about Fins Tailgate is that we're a collective unit. We have one thing in common is that we're Fin fans, but at the same time, we all have our personalities. We all have our unique skill sets, and that's what is gonna help. We don't want a fucking echo chamber. This isn't gonna be a fucking echo chamber. The Fins Tailgate is not an echo chamber. We have different beliefs and different things like that. Like my man Lewis, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, my brother? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just got home trying to sit down and eat dinner and stuff.
Good.
But salute to you, gentlemen, and what's going on?
Yeah, man. This is Lewis is the dude I started the Smoke Lounge with, and of course, Crypto. He was there since the beginning too, and of course, you can't forget the OG. What's going on, Mr. Color? How you doing? You there, Color?
Yeah, he probably stepped out or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
but anyway, let's
Color
before we get to the topic of the day, I just thought it was funny that the guy from blindsided his I guess parents. Apparently, they made him sign this deal where it wasn't adoptive, whatever, and they were able to get rights to his make money off of him, and now he's suing those parents. So I thought that was an interesting story. So it really
Michael
wasn't.
Lord?
Wait a minute, say that again, Shake
Michael
Money.
Lord. Michael Lore, apparently,
The Blind Side.
Yeah, The Blind Side. They made him sign a form that pretty much, it wasn't an adoption. It was just I forgot what it was called.
It was a conservatorship.
Yeah, conservatorship.
Gave away his commercial rights, basically his right to his name, the marketing of his name.
Yeah, pretty much.
Of his own name?
Yeah.
So now he's and his likeness, and they created and they say he's saying the story was contrived. It wasn't the real story.
Right. And hey, Shake, if you go back to when The Blind Side first came out as a story, or probably didn't argue it the same way or as vociferously as he's doing now, but he was always against the way his family was depicted, the way he was depicted, his neighborhood was depicted from year one. But only now, years later, I think it's maybe even decades later, is where I think he's mounting a legal challenge to what has been done. But he was against it from day one.
And you know what? At the end of the day, the thing about it is, I really don't blame him, because at the end of the day, look, you're fucking it was in 2009 the Blind Side movie came out, but you're busy trying to make a team. You know, he won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. He was on two other different teams, and you know, you're busy with your NFL career. So now that he's retired and has time to focus and reflect, he's like, fuck, I just, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean?
And where's my money?
Yeah.
That's the real deal. Where the fuck's my money? What's going on? That's what's happening. They took him for a ride, bro. They took him for a ride. And they made they embarrassed him for it.
I never seen the movie The Blind Side. Was that any good? Anybody seen it?
Yeah, it was good.
It was horrible.
Movie.
I don't recall it, Shake Money.
Shake, mainstream audiences enjoyed it as a feel-good Disney-style story of uplift and all this crap. But there's a more critical audience that was always like, this is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And again, Ower was on that tip too.
I like Sandra Bullock. Maybe that's what it is. I like Sandra Bullock.
It's got to be better than The Ninth Gate, I'm sure. That was the worst movie of all time.
Well, it's like
I'm still want my $8.50 back. I'm still trying to get it 20-some years later.
That's like when the Tupac movie came out. They waited for a Phoenix Shakur to die, because they knew if they released that movie while she was still alive, that shit was gonna get sued or blocked.
Yeah, and the Hudlin brothers were behind it, and Tupac caught a case beating up one of them Hudlin brothers. So you know. They waited till nobody could say anything against them. You know, it was a money grab.
Yeah,
money grab.
I never seen All Eyes on Me, and I don't think I plan on watching it either. If I'm being honest with you. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was an interesting topic, being that it is football news. But in football news, let's start with the New England Patriots. In my opinion, I don't think. Look, you got Gesicki there. You got I don't care what nobody says. Bill Belichick is still a mastermind. He's still the man until proven otherwise.
You never know, man.
Yeah, the one thing I don't want is fucking. I remember 2007, bro. 2007. They's like, damn, they got Randy Moss. Randy Moss is washed up. That motherfucker got 23 touchdowns that year, man. And Corey Dillon. Oh, he's washed up. You know, there's so many. I think there's more careers where Bill Belichick resurrected than not. I'm sure there's a lot of careers that couldn't take resurrect under Bill Belichick, but I guarantee you there's more than not resurrected. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Ezekiel Elliott, before he went to Mexico and started flashing women, was he was a physical specimen, and maybe Bill Belichick awakens that beast within him. You know what I mean? He has the talent. Unfortunately, I think maybe with Jerry Jones and with Dallas, he got complacent because Jerry Jones wasn't expecting a lot from him. So, he's like, oh, no matter what, Jerry Jones is going to got my back. So he didn't have to put in the work. But now he's at a place where if I don't put in the work, I'm going to be sit on the bench or let go. So what do you guys think of that situation?
I think he's going to be a goal line back.
Yeah.
I think they lost Harris, then they lose Harris, right? So he's replacing Harris. That's all it is. Doesn't make them any better or less. He's going to be useful in that way. That's it.
I think you're right, Shake. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir. I didn't mean to cut you.
Do your thing. Do your thing, baby. I'm done.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were done. My fault. Yeah, I think you're right, Shake, in that Ezekiel Elliott has reached the mercenary stage of his career where he's going to, take the top dollar to go to a team that could use his services. From so looking at it from his perspective, right? But from the Patriots' perspective, you can't. Belichick is as wily and savvy a coach as there is in the league right now, and I'm sure he looked at the landscape of this AFC East, particularly the Miami Dolphins, and he says, "Where can I attack the Dolphins?" And it's going to be with that hard charging running back, blasting them up the middle, in between the tackles, the twin. So him and Ramondre Stevenson, I think that's his idea going into the season. He's going to pound like, everybody else is going. Like we went to, fast speed, quick strike. Nah, Bill Belichick said, okay, I got an antidote to that. I'm going to pound the hell out of them in the middle and control the clock. And I think Ezekiel Elliott paired with Stevenson allows him to do that from their perspective, or at least that's their vision for what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? And this is one thing I brought up about Vic Fangio, saying that people saying, "Oh, he needs more talent." Dude, if Bill Belichick has a great defense with the talent he has, you can't tell me on paper we don't have a better even depth. I don't care if starting and depth, that we don't have a better team on the roster, and they're kind of the same, cut from the same cloth. When you talk about defensive coaches, now, if Bill Belichick could maximize his defense with the talent he has, it's not too much to ask that Vic Fangio does the same with the talent we have.
True.
Yeah, we kind of got to that.
He should be able to. But yeah, I think this will be his greatest accomplishment because I think he's had Hall of Fame front sevens when he's in Baltimore and other places in comparison.
Yeah.
So I would say collectively our front seven will be more of a challenge for him as far as his coaching to get him up to speed to run his defense. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it is.
And minus Brady, or with Brady, New England and Belichick have made a career out of winning with so-called less talented rosters that then they got a better team concept, and their vision of how to go about doing things and succeeding at what they do, dictating to other teams rather than, they don't, New England will never win the on-paper championship. In terms of New England got a roster that's stacked.
They only had one team, KP, right? In that 20-year run
Moss.
With the Randy Moss. That was the only team they had better on paper than everybody else.
Exactly. But what he does is tactically, though, he spots other teams' weaknesses and how to attack them. And so that's where you got to look at Elliott styling. I mean, I don't know if Elliott has anything left,
Mm-hmm.
He's,
but here's the thing.
And that's weird. And that was the Super Bowl they actually lost. Because of a dominating front four that they played.
Yeah, people said that about Randy Moss though when he was in Oakland. Oh man, look at Randy Moss. Look at Oakland.
We cannot compare. We cannot compare Randy Moss to Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, let's be honest. I get what everybody's saying about Bill Belichick. I would agree. I think Bill Belichick still to this day is the best coach, at least in the division, maybe still in the NFL. Right. Given his track record, given what he's done for this league. But let's not make no mistake about it. Ezekiel Elliott is dog water. The man has been dog water for the past 2 years. And And the fact of the matter is that everybody tells me that a running back, right? Oh, you need an offensive line. You need this. Has anyone looked at the past, let's say, 4 to 5 years, the offensive line they've had in Dallas? Mm-hmm. Has anybody been scared of Ezekiel Elliott? Yeah. They've had a big-time offense. They've led the league in offense and stuff. Bro, like, if you want to sit up here and say that we're all now scared, and I'm not saying anyone up here has done that. What I'm saying is, for the people that are, oh, my God, they signed Ezekiel Elliott. Like, bro, the man is dog walk. He's done. He's nothing. Like I'm not scared. Okay, well, again, that's fine. You just tell me that.
I don't know if he's dog water is what I'm saying. Because he had almost 1,000 yards last year and missed 3 games.
Crypto. Exactly. You can have 1,000 yards. Averaging 50 yards a game, 60 yards a game. Like, come on, bro. If you play all 17 games, like, let's not sit up here and make it seem like someone's scared of Ezekiel Elliott. Like, we all know better, bro. Like, why do we have to do this?
Why do we always need to turn it into a fear-based question when we're acknowledging talent on another team?
Exactly.
But I'm saying that
nobody's scared of
talent, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much
acknowledging what the talent is and what another Hall of Fame coach can do with a talent, even somebody who you think is dog water.
He can bring him to the next level.
Okay, so now Bill Belichick is going to bring him to the next level. Okay, I mean, okay.
No. We're just acknowledging that he's done that historically. With less
we're trying to get into Belichick's
stellar talent.
Yeah, we're just looking at.
That's all we're saying.
I don't think. I don't know the last time I seen Bill Belichick run the ball. So what I'm saying is, you can talk about.
It was just 2 years ago. He passed the ball 3 times against Buffalo.
Yeah, that game against Buffalo, they ran the ball 45 out of 48 times.
I asked the question, is Bill Belichick the talent? They signed Ezekiel Elliott. They didn't sign Bill Belichick. So what I'm saying is, from the team, like, Ezekiel Elliott is trash. Like,
it don't matter. Listen, it don't matter. As long as you have Popovich, as long as you have a good coach, it don't matter. It's not about Ezekiel Elliott. It's about somebody maximizing his talent and
using him in a particular strategy.
We're not saying that he's going to be the next Derrick Henry.
How many pedestrian running backs that Bill Belichick had over his career? Pretty much every running back in his career since Tony Martin. Martin.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Can I ask everybody a question on this panel?
Go for it.
If Belichick is what you guys are saying, the Messiah, and he's going to get the talent out of everybody he coaches?
No,
he's not that.
Well,
Don Shula's the Messiah.
Well, I'm
That's
just trying to gauge.
He's exaggerating.
I'm trying to gauge what everybody is sitting here telling me. So Bill Belichick can get. Okay, so he's a strategist. What happened with that strategy with Devontae Parker last year?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to work.
He never does that with
I'm not saying it's going to work. Almost got into the playoffs.
First of all, Ezekiel is way more productive than Devontae Parker.
If they didn't,
wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, I can't let him get away with that because Devontae Parker is not even close to what Ezekiel Elliott output was with the freaking Dallas Cowboys.
Thank you.
I know
and with that dog water wide receiver, if they didn't fuck up in that Oakland game, we wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was a running back that threw the ball backwards that cost them a playoff game.
And again, I get all that.
That wasn't Devontae Parker's fault.
If my grandfather would have had one pump to the left, he would have been my grandmother. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we saying? Like, I don't care about none of that. Y'all are making it seem. You know what Devontae Parker and Ezekiel Elliott have in common in the NFL?
Nothing.
There's one major
more
thing.
Productive.
They've done nothing in this league. They've won nothing.
Hold on, Lewis.
What have we done in this league?
I think you've been misunderstood what we were doing. All we're trying to do is look into what New England is doing. How are they trying to win the AFC East? I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying we're scared. We're just analyzing what the signing of Ezekiel Elliott might have meant. Yeah, what is their strategy? How does Belichick envision? Why does he think it's a good move? You know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying it worked. I'm like you. I'm unsure of how much Ezekiel Elliott has left in the tank, right? But his pedigree as a running back can't be questioned in terms of might not have a Super Bowl, but he has accomplished. He's put up stats. He's established himself as one of the top running backs in this league for a long time. You know, so.
when
You gotta
he
respect
came
that.
Trust
into
me,
the league.
he's gonna be
When
with
he
a
came
better
into the
offensive
league.
mind than in fucking Bill O'Brien than Mike McCarthy ever would be.
Yeah, and the guy with the bird's
Okay,
nest
that's
on his
cool.
chest, he's not effective at all at offensive coordinator.
All I know,
And just
If they got rid of the guy with the bird's nest on his
and I
chest,
agree with you, Lewis. I don't think Ezekiel Elliott alone puts New England anywhere close to us in terms of the talent we have on the roster now. I don't think we are in any way scared of the Ezekiel Elliott signing, but I could definitely see
do we
how
go?
Belichick might want to use him as a weapon, why he might value that
Absolutely.
signing. Yeah, that's all.
Absolutely. Do we go based on what a player has done for their career or what a player has done for me lately? Which one are we gauging?
career.
I think it's
Which
the
one are we
total
running with?
package.
If you got more than 5 years,
Oh, so
career.
now it's the total package. Oh, okay, so now if you have 5 years,
If
now
it's
career.
5 years
Okay,
or
cool.
more,
So-
that's
so-
the
so-
that's
I
the
just think-
cutoff for me.
Oh, okay, true. Well, I just think that it's hard for Jason Sanders, right? Because I hear everybody saying, well, our special teams is a problem. Oh, Jason Sanders misses all these kicks. Well, it's hard to kick with all the goalposts moving at Hard Rock Stadium. That's all I know. We make a goal.
What are we
The goalpost right here. Now I ask, because every time we have a conversation, it's what did the player do for me lately? And now all of a sudden, since we're talking about Ezekiel Elliott, 22 years ago when he first came into the league, now if you got a 5-year resume, like, bro, what are we talking about here? Like,
No.
bro, the past
So you never heard
how
of
long he's been in the
resurgence?
league?
You never heard of, so you never heard of
You got to
He's
count for
trash.
what he did before.
You never heard of resurgence before, where a person did trash and then rebounded again?
Yeah,
Never heard of that?
absolutely. Yeah, it's called a
Okay.
recycle can. That's what it's called.
And you can't
Okay,
just
whatever
go
you say,
off
bro.
one season and snapshot and say that that's the totality of their career. Neither on the other end. But that's the case. Geno Smith's a Hall of Famer. Then we might as well induct him right now, because based on his last year, he's better than freaking Mahomes.
I agree. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to be great for New England. I really do. I think they're going to be great.
I don't know. I don't know if he is or isn't.
We're just saying that Belichick's got something up his sleeve. That's always it.
He could help
Well,
him.
don't you think that every coach in the league or any team that signs a player has a plan in place?
Yep.
You always have a plan.
Yeah, they do.
What I'm saying
In theory, they do.
What
but
I'm saying,
how many of them?
And that's exactly what we're discussing. And that's exactly what we're discussing. That doesn't put us on the New England gravy train. Oh, you know,
I didn't say,
we're rooting for New England.
I didn't say you guys were rooting for New England. Bro, Ty Bliss talk, crypto talk, KP talk. I came out and gave my opinion. I think he's dog water. And in my opinion, again, I'm not speaking for nobody up here. I don't think he moves the needle for New England one bit.
Okay, that's all.
Okay,
Hey.
That's fine.
No doubt. Hey, that definitely could be true. In fact, I would tend to agree with that.
I think he does. Based in their own world realm.
Vegas backs him. The odds didn't change when they got him.
I tell you what. Ezekiel Elliott doesn't throw a backwards pass in a crucial moment when they have a chance to saw away the game, which means that's one more win that they win. So he gives them one extra win just by default. Because he's not throwing a backwards pass in a crucial game that costs you the playoffs.
That's what's up.
It is.
So yeah, I mean,
really want to talk about.
yeah. So yeah, my final word on this would then be: all I'm saying is that if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm looking at this loaded division, right, and I got to put forward my best chance at winning. I think you could probably understand why he would roll for that power back approach. Combined with supposedly a strong defense. That's all. That's probably what he's going to try to bring. You know, so you know, I still don't think it's enough to beat us.
He doubles down. He might get lucky in a one and done scenario in the playoffs. He might catch a team sleeping or two. Who knows? It might be one of those bad, brutal winter games where you got to run the ball, and your air attack is totally grounded. And then it goes into a favor of the people that want to run the ball 45 times out of 49 times.
And who knows? They might go to their old playbook and cheat.
I absolutely agree with
that too.
I absolutely
Mother
agree with
Nature
that,
might serve up a platter to him.
I absolutely agree with that, Crypto. In late December, early January, there's probably going to be bad weather games, and you're going to have to run the ball. The problem what I see with the New England Patriots specifically, right, is that September and November when the weather is perfect and you got teams
Right.
within your division like Buffalo that can score points, hopefully like us that can score
They
points.
can't keep
And
up
now
with
with the
Atlanta.
Jets, and now with the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers, now Dalvin Cook and the likes, right? Another team in the division where you could score. So I don't give a damn if New England decides to run the ball on me with their 4 or 5 wins in December, because it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
And that's what I'm betting on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Instead of
that.
talking
that's
about
fine.
one game,
That's a legit
instead of talking
outlook.
about
They
one
didn't
game
win
in
every game
December.
last year in December. They only won 8 games last year.
Yeah, you want to hear something? The New England has the second hardest schedule in the NFL this year. The top
Yeah.
5
I don't see
hardest
how when they're in
schedules.
4th place.
The,
That don't make no
the top
sense.
5.
They got a 4th
Listen,
place
the top
schedule.
5. But listen, the top 5 schedules, the top 5 hardest schedules are AFC East teams, all of us. We're the top just because of each other. They gotta play us, so they gotta play our
That plays
division.
twice.
That's why
Yeah.
they have the hardest.
But I don't think
schedule.
how you look at it. They have a placement of the schedule. When
I
you
didn't do
when
this.
you place in your division, that's the place teams you play in the other opponent. You only play your
That's true.
division opponent 6 times total. You got to account for the other 11 games. That's what matters. You can theoretically sweep your division. If you go 0-11 outside your division, guess what? You're freaking 6-11 team, even though you sweep everybody in your division. That's just the math.
Yep.
They base your schedule based on who you play outside your division.
It came out today. The data is it's the Kansas City Chiefs number 1, New England Patriots number 2, Buffalo Bills number 3, we're number 4, and the Jets are number 5. Hardest schedule.
I don't see how they can come up with that when they was the 4th place team.
Hey.
So everybody outside of our division who we play, they play the 4th best team in every division outside of our conference.
Who were the other 4th place teams last year? In
everybody
AFC,
who we play in the other division. Like when we play the people, when we play the Chargers, and everybody in our division play their division, right? But that other division that we play, like the Ravens, whoever came in dead last in the Ravens division, the Patriots draw that team. Whoever came last in the Central, the Patriots draw that team.
I believe that would be Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Pittsburgh or Cleveland, one of the two.
Yeah. Whoever was dead last in that division, and whoever was dead last in the Houston division, that's who the Patriots will play.
Listen, the Patriots actually came in 3rd place last year.
Okay, well, the 3rd place schedule, they'd be the 3rd best because the Jets, that's right, the Jets lost the last game.
Yeah, they got the 4th.
So the Raiders, the Steelers.
So then it would be the Steelers.
The Colts are the other 3rd place team. So they're playing that.
Yeah, because I think the Texans placed last. The Jets play them.
The Jets play the Texans. The Browns placed last.
And then
the Broncos.
And then the one NFC team that we don't play outside of the conference, they play that last place team. I mean 3rd place team. So what other division we play in the NFC, that's who they'll play. Like the not Carolina division. We play everybody in the Eagles division. So it's got to be a different division who we don't play. Like the Cardinals division, if we play one of those teams.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean.
It'd be one.
The formula where it has it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. I gotta check the schedule. Let me see the schedule.
Because I think because we play the Panthers we played them, right? So whoever's 3rd place in the Panthers division, that's who the Patriots will play. Because I think the Panthers were in 2nd place last year. That's why we play them.
So that would be
the Falcons, or not even the Falcons. It'll be the Saints.
The Saints.
Because the Bucks won, right? Then the Bucks win.
Yeah, and what's funny is everybody on the AFC East except the Jets play overseas. We play. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, everybody's playing in Germany. Yeah, that's right. Everybody's playing in Germany and London.
No,
right?
London. In London, they're playing in London.
Okay, so we play Germany, and then the Bills play it once again in what?
London. They play in London. As well.
So they will be playing the Buccaneers this year again.
I'm not sure. I know they're playing in London. I know the Patriots are playing in London.
Okay.
I don't know who the Bills are playing in London.
I think I got to double check the Bills schedule because I think they will probably end up drawing the Buccaneers this year, if I remember right.
So,
But they lost to the Bucks 2 years ago. I remember that on Monday night.
Yeah, but it's all a mute point, man. New England,
they
despite
play the
the
Saints.
Ezekiel Elliott signing, is probably not a
Saints?
threat
Okay.
to us. You know what I'm saying? They're not a threat to us at all. The team that is raising their hand, not saying that they are, is the Jets. The Cook signing makes the Jets better. Does it make the Jets better than us? Well, we're gonna settle that we're gonna have to settle that on the football field. You know what I'm saying?
On Black
We
Friday.
played them
Black
twice.
Friday we'll tell it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Damn.
But we didn't get better. They did with this individual signing. And I think that issue has thrown, Dolphin fan world into a tizzy with people going crazy all day knocking on the subject.
okay,
so
hold on. Real
Go
quickly.
ahead, Chick. Yeah.
The Colts play New England in London, and the Jags play Buffalo in New England and in London.
Right, because the Jags won the division.
Yeah.
Right, and we so Tennessee came in second, so that's why we playing Tennessee.
Yeah, they got to play AR-15 or AR-5 now, whatever.
That's another team people are blowing up that I don't really have any faith in at all. That Jacksonville Jaguar team. A lot of people picking them.
It could be a one-hit thing for them, KP. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't count Tennessee out because of the coach, Rabel. Yeah. I don't necessarily count them out because they got injured at the end of last year and they had that big slide and everybody just thought they was just tanking for some reason. No,
they got like about 3 quarterbacks. They don't know who's gonna be the starter. Anybody?
They lost the quarterback. They lost their running back. They lost their tight end. They was losing people left and right, and there was that buzzsaw at the end of the season. That kind of threw them out of the mix, Yeah. And then Jacksonville took advantage of it at the right time. They got hot and Tennessee got cold. It's like a perfect marriage.
They could be good, but
they could get good. They doubled down on Derrick Henry and they got D-Hop, so I don't know. We'll see. And they still got the guy they got from Eagles. I mean that they, what's his name?
They got a quarterback, even though
they got Landon. I think
even though he's not a good, he's not the same quarterback that he was, but when it comes to pre-snap and making decisions, Aaron Rodgers still, he still has his mental facilities. It's his physical capabilities that's in question.
Right.
But with this heavy run offense and this offensive line, does that help? Does that make it enough to take them over the edge now? And they still have room for one more player, a big ticket price player.
Right, I've moved enough capital to do that. I think that's why Aaron took a pay cut.
I heard the Jets have a worse offensive line than we do, so I don't know where to gauge that at. But
wait a minute, hold on. Who said that? Somebody said that, Lewis?
They said that today. Multiple people said that
today. They have issues
with
Becton.
The offensive line? Really?
Yes, they are. Yes,
I thought they had two bookend tackles. Unless they both down for the season.
Mekhi Becton was hurt pretty much all of last year, and then he's had a horrible training camp today. So, again, this is, when we just come out here and we praise other teams, we got to start doing a better job, in my opinion, before we start gassing up teams. Because, again, if they have a worse O-line than us, and all I hear from our fan base is that our offensive line is horrible, then what are we scared of? Don't we have Bradley Chubb? Don't we have Jalen Phillips that we all believe from our own the Miami University? Don't you think in his third year he's going to give you an uptick in performance? So it's like I'm just getting to the
Phillips,
point.
Not Chubb.
We played them
we got Bradley Chubb. We got Bradley
when they was hurt.
We got Jalen Phillips again, and weren't we hurt? But
we wasn't. Our defensive line wasn't. Is what I'm saying.
I know, but our secondary was though, Crypto, right? I don't care what part of the team you want to make. Oh, well, this part and this. I don't care about none of that. It's
who's going up against the offensive line? Our secondary or our defensive line?
Let me ask you a question. Who's gassing up another team?
Everybody. Again,
on this panel.
I'm not talking about.
I'm not.
I'm not
gassing
I'm not addressing everybody on this panel. I didn't mention no names. This was the problem with our fan base and me included. We can't even talk without people jumping down our throat. We can't even finish statements before people start interjecting. So go ahead, bro. Again, that's fine. I didn't say nobody. Did I come up here and say KP? Did I say crypto?
No,
I said our fan
when you
base.
said we are gassing up, when we need to
we
stop.
Our fan base. That's what I said. Our fan base.
What I mean, I'm talking about everybody here, bro.
Okay, well, I thought we were addressing the fan base and every. Okay, now I got it. I got the rules now. Now we're just talking to the four guys here. Okay, cool. All right, then my statement don't matter then, because I would agree. Nobody up here is caping for another team.
No,
right. I think all we're trying to do is analyze.
We just analyze what they may be trying to do that can try to combat or derail us or do whatever from a strategic standpoint.
Right,
and that's what I was doing.
A lot of good points.
Wasn't I trying to give my opinion on why I'm not scared of the Jets? Because the guys like Bradley Chubb and Taylor Phillips and
I just wanted to get clarification. I just wanted to get a clarification because when you say, "Oh, we're gassing up the thing," that's where I
said.
Now that you clarified it, we're good. That's all.
Yeah, I'm talking. Well, I thought I had said it. Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. I was saying the fan base. That's what I'm saying. Because if for the people that go into those Twitter spaces and you hear it, you might as well think that the sky is falling right upon us.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, man. Like I don't understand why everybody is so high on all these other teams, but when it comes to the Dolphins and we start talking about the Dolphins, it's on paper. Have the Jets won anything? Have the Jets won anything?
Everything's on paper with them.
Jets haven't the Jets been a dumpster fire just as long as the Miami Dolphins?
Yep.
But if you let Miami Dolphin fans, I never hear once they do a signing or they get Aaron Rodgers, I don't hear the same excuse that we use for our team about on paper. I just hear, they're just legitimate Super Bowl contenders. That's what I hear.
Or we'll hear that they just straight trash.
I think it's fucking
and
ridiculous.
Don't say that they trash on paper.
I got you.
Or Lewis will just call them straight trash outright and they ain't played it down, and just saying they're trash on paper.
And you know what? And Lewis, I consider you a friend.
Call them trash on paper.
And I consider you a friend, Lewis. And we've had private conversations, and not once after this preseason game, I told you multiple times backstage and everything, private and public, where I said I'm not too high on this preseason game. I'm not too low because this preseason shit don't mean nothing. I'm still confident in this team.
Agree.
1,000%, Shake.
I agree, Shake. And
that's
why I want everybody to play. Yeah, because I'm sick of the guessing of what we will be like if our starters played against their starters. We need to give them 10 game time minutes, like I've been pounding the table. In this, I don't know how to say this, so I'm blue in the face. Everybody needs to play so we can figure out where we going and where we at.
Listen, as Dolphin fans, all of us want to see the Dolphins in the Super Bowl holding up the trophy at the end of the season, right? But even with that vision in mind, there's got to be some room for some healthy debate, even some skepticism, you know what I'm saying? Or even doubt. You might call that person who expresses doubt a coward or not having full faith or whatever. But hey, that's just your opinion. My thing is, in a healthy debate, though, we're going to flush everything out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to discuss everything. And given the track record of our franchise, just like you could argue from the Jets, there's room for doubt. You know what I'm saying? And there's room to discuss that. But hey, there were some great points brought out in the discussion today on Twitter. I mostly listened, but I also learned from a lot of the back and forth that was happening. As folks brought up excellent points, on both sides.
And KP, this is all I'm asking for in the fan base or in general, just when we're because again, if we're going to talk about other teams, we're just all sports fans up here. I'm not killing anybody for their takes. All I want is everything to be equal then on an equal playing field. Because, again, if you want to be skeptic about the Miami Dolphins or you want to have your concerns about the Miami Dolphins, hell, I'm standing in the line right with you. I have skepticism, and I still have concerns about my team, right? But the narrative of Anytime there's something positive about the Dolphins, all we can come out and say is, well, it's on paper. Then that's fine. I'm with that, right?
Yeah.
But then in the same token, when we're talking about the Jets and they land Dalvin Cook and they bring in Aaron Rodgers, if we're going to talk about on paper, then I want people to start telling me that the Jets are Super Bowl contenders. Because I would, again, for the last 20 years, Miami has been a dumpster fire. Miami hasn't won this division, right? Miami hasn't won a playoff game. Well, has the fucking Jets done that?
Right.
Nope.
So why is it? Where is the hypocrisy, KP? I know you would
No,
understand that word
I'm not.
hypocrisy. Like,
No,
what are we talking
Yeah,
about
that's
here,
fine.
bro?
I'm not
Hey.
calling you. I'm not saying that's you by any stretch of the imagination, there, Lewis. I'm not saying you've been hypocritical. All I'm saying is it's possible that both of us at this stage could be paper Super Bowl contenders, and it's fair.
1,000%.
Right. That's all I'm gonna go with.
Hey,
Yeah,
but,
we
hey,
both
listen.
can
All I
be.
gotta say is real quickly. I'm so confident in this team. I got this. This is my prosecco. This is every first win. I open up a bottle of bubbly to celebrate. So I'm gonna be opening this week 1. But check this out. This one's even better. I got this to celebrate our first Veuve Clicquot, baby. This is the good shit right here. To celebrate our first playoff win, baby.
Hey, can
That's
I
how
add a
confident
little?
I am.
Can I add a
You
little
got
to the
that, Shake
discussion
Money.
too? I'm sorry, Shake. I
You got
had
that.
the
Oh
I
yeah,
had
no, yeah. What's up? Go
the
for it.
front of my neighborhood got to me. I got disconnected earlier when I went to go pick up mom real quick, but I went ahead and took care of that and got my connection back
Appreciate
on.
it.
But what Kahari was saying, does make a lot of sense in the regard that, when the part you said about being roasted for having little faith or being seen as a coward or a pessimist because of no faith or little faith. And everybody knows me. I've been on the record right from the get go, and even as recent as today, reminding everybody that no matter how good I might feel about 2 of these days and how things are, production stats show something positive and this and that and the other, no matter all of that, everybody thinks that they've forgotten, I think, because I have continued to make it clear that I'm not a man of faith in general, and I have zero faith. And that not only extend that's not only for Tua, but that extends to the entire team. If you're talking about believing that anything's going to be different than it has in 35 years. I mean, yeah, you could point to the paper, you could point to the roster, and I'm with that. So I'm going to be talking about how we can win, instead of why we're going to lose. But that doesn't mean that I've changed one iota about how much I believe in players, team, organization, whatever, as far as the word faith goes. It's still at 0 for me. And I feel that, when people came at us after last year, with the whole receipt talk and all that, I've told people from the beginning, I failed to see what I was wrong about. We had criticisms. Tua fixed some of those criticisms. And as such, what was I wrong about? What I realized over time was what they were really holding me responsible for was not having faith. And that's just not fair to any fan who fans their own way. When we talk about the fans should be able to fan their own way, like I have to have faith in another man, really? That goes against every part of my code as a man.
100 color. Couldn't say it better myself, man. That's it.
That's fair.
Well,
I
I guess
mean,
it would be
it's not
nice.
even about being a Dolphins fan. It's about I'm not a man of faith, and that is my code. Tua ain't gonna change that. The Miami Dolphins ain't gonna change that. My love for the Miami Dolphins ain't gonna change that. Nothing's gonna change that. I don't even
And
have faith. I don't even have a faith in a supernatural being. So obviously, the only thing in this universe that's going to change my level of faith in anything is that supernatural being.
I don't even. I'm not. Again, I get everything you're saying, color, and I think you said it great. I'm not coming. I'm not even coming at you, but I'm not asking for faith. All I want is an equal playing field. If you're gonna tell me or not you per se, Color. I'm just saying in general, if I'm talking positive or whatever about the Miami Dolphins, right, and the moves they made. Oh, I'm excited they brought in Ramsey. I'm excited to see what Vic Fangio is going to do with this defense. I'm excited to see Tua in year 2 of this offense. And everybody's response to me is, well, that's good, Lewis, and fine. It's all fine and dandy, but we need to see it because as of right now, all you're talking about is paper. I get that side of the argument. All I want is in the same breath for our own fan base, and we've all seen it. Well, oh my God, the Jets are going to be great because they got Aaron Rodgers. Well, they're going to be great on paper. Oh, the Jets just got Dalvin Cook. The Jets are Super Bowl contender. Well, the Jets just got Dalvin Cook on paper. You see what I'm saying?
Sounds like to me what your issue is with people's fear.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it sounds like you're having an issue with is fear.
Again, but Color, it's not fear. See, this is where people are losing the point. It's not fear. You can have criticism about our team. That's fine. But then in the same breath, again, the Jets and Miami are
don't misunderstand me. Don't misunderstand me. I meant that their ability to give credit to the Jets but not to us is because of their fear of the other team. Their fear of losing.
And that's the point I'm trying to make, Color. That's fine. I get it. But how? When all you're telling me it's on paper. So now you're scared of paper? What are we scared about?
I agree with you.
What are we scared about getting paper?
That's why I agree with you. But see, that's where I agree with you. I don't think we should be afraid of any other team.
Right.
No,
that's the part that gets me because it always gets turned to a fear-based argument.
Right.
Acknowledging that there's other creatures in the universe doesn't mean you fear that they exist.
Right.
You're just acknowledging that they're there.
But that's not
what Lewis is saying
though.
is we have to be able to acknowledge what we have too and not just say it's paper.
Yeah,
we can't be afraid of success. We cannot.
That's a no-brainer.
And
to be fair to Lewis, a lot of that fear mongering was going on today in certain corners on Twitter.
Yeah,
I think that Lewis is making a mistake though of projecting that on this panel, which I think is what Shake was saying earlier. What we're trying to do is just have a clear, rational analysis of the division and how the recent moves have changed people. Doesn't mean we're right today and could be proven wrong tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We're just trying to have a cold, rational analysis of what has happened.
But I'm not talking.
And one thing, hold on, let me say something real quick, Lewis. And one thing I've said since I started this show, and I've said it a million times, that's why I always said the strength of schedule is fucking bullshit because if we're that fucking team, it doesn't matter. We're the fucking team people should be fearing.
But no. But listen, I talk to almost everybody on this panel, right? Every day. We're part of a team. We're gonna have conversations. So when I'm talking about the viewers. I'm talking about the people that come and watch us that we don't get to talk to every day. And again, I think everybody up here is missing my point, right? Or there's a confusion. I'm not saying there's fear. What I'm saying is there's hypocrisy because again, 100%. if we're talking about the Dolphins and everybody's response to me is, well, we got to see it on the field because as of right now, it's paper. I get that. I'm not debating you. I agree. I'm on your side of the fence. I'm standing arm in arm with all my Dolphin brother when we say that. What pisses me off is in the same breath, that same Dolphin brother that I'm arms in arm with tell me how great the Jets are because they got Aaron Rodgers and
on paper.
Dalvin Cook. And it's on paper. So how is it that we can't be positive about our team because we got to wait and see it's on paper? But now
could I offer an answer? Could I offer an answer? Because I do understand that you're
right.
I was just pointing out. Right. I was just pointing out that the reason for the hypocrisy is fear. I'm with you that there's hypocrisy. Now, as far as the hypocrisy goes, I could also say, Lewis, that the reason I don't do that. I'm not afraid of the Jets. I don't care if they go get Dan Marino out of retirement. I'm not afraid of the Jets. Okay.
They clone Marino.
That was to illustrate the level of my lack of fear. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Well, let me put it
they didn't clone Tyrone. They cloned Marino.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to put it to you this way. This is how I look at the Jets. Okay, we're 6 foot tall. All right, the Jets are 4 feet. With Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook, they put on 6-inch heels. They're still short, but what by them
See
putting
what
on the
happens when
heels,
use
they're
one
just
man's
they just
name.
got a little taller, but they're not going to be taller than us. Just
Well,
because they're taller than before.
wow, man.
Go ahead, Color. Go ahead,
You
Color.
know, the next
Shape Money
person that
saying they're putting
accuses
on
me of
heels
being the
says
one
that.
that talks over people, I'm just gonna quit this whole thing forever because I'm so sick of being accused of it, of being exactly what's perpetrated onto me, man. I was right in the middle of a statement. Right in the middle of it. And now I don't even remember what it was. So next time
all
it
been
comes
cutting
in,
each
I'm going
other
to
off.
interrupt somebody when it comes back to me, just so y'all know that's what starts that nonsense.
Well, listen, this is what I would see as the reason for the hypocrisy, right? It's because the hypocrites were hypocritical from the beginning. See, when this whole 2-9 civil war started, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the hypocrisy first entered the game. That's where the demand for faith in Tua began. And that's where this Cook signing has revealed one thing, that there's a civil war going on within 2-9. There's a branch of 2-9, right, that are true believers. They believe that Tua is the main ingredient in the potential success of the Dolphins, right? And no matter who we sign, it doesn't really matter because we got Tua and we're going to make it, right? That's one branch. But then the other branch are the realist Tuaneers. They say they're Tuaneers, but really they tie Tua's success to having exceptional wide receiver talent and exceptional O-line, surrounding him with unmatchable talent. And they don't, and this is where they're hypocritical, they never acknowledge that extra talent around him is what is boosting the numbers and the production that we saw last season. And so this Cook signing threatens that group because they saw Cook as a vital plug in ensuring Tua's success this season. And
100%.
now without signing Cook, this creates the doubt in their mind that Tua will not be as successful. They're really not arguing this from a Dolphins perspective. This is about how much they love and project success upon Tua. Meanwhile,
right, which is why they project
That's an
us
interesting point, KP.
in the same way that it's not about the Dolphins for us, it's about being right about Tua, right? They project the same thing on because they're actually the ones guilty of it.
Right. Meanwhile, us real Dolphin fans, right? We're trying to look at the big picture. You know what I'm saying? And
this is what I was getting to, Kahari, what you're about to say, because I don't want it to be confused, like, because if somebody tells me about how good how the Jets' chances and all that, and they prop them up, Dolphin fan, Jets fan, don't matter who it is, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right, great team, and that may sound to somebody like Lewis, hey, what do you? But you talk, and I get where Lewis is coming from.
Yeah, no, I get where Lewis is coming from.
The only thing I would say to Lewis on that regard is the way that I speak about my team, I have higher standards. So I'm not going to gloss over stuff. I'm not going to be Pollyannish, even though I might sound Pollyannish about another team because I really don't care about talking about them with any kind of quality standard, i.e. the New York Jets. You see what I'm saying? Like, so when I talk about my team, we have to bring back Dan Marino for me to accept that I don't have any need to criticize what we got going on. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And until we rectify every problem we have, which is an ongoing process that'll never end, obviously, but that's why I'm a fan. Until we correct everything, I will always speak about my team the way I do, regardless of how I speak of other teams, because I hold my team to that standard.
Right.
I don't give a damn what the Jets. I'll tell the Jets fans whatever the hell they want to hear, bro.
Right.
Yeah, you're great, Aaron Rodgers. Yep, Super Bowl for you guys. Get ready.
Shake Money's analogy. This would make Shake Money's analogy so beautiful. Yeah, they got 6 inches taller with the 6-inch heels, but me saying that they're wearing 6-inch heels and are 6 inches closer to us doesn't mean that that they're gonna beat us. You know what I'm saying? It just means that they've gotten a little bit taller. That's all. That's all that is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Interesting analogy. Yeah.
So
They just wearing pumps for the day. They wearing
Yeah.
product.
They
Yeah,
wear
but,
Reebok pumps.
At the
Reebok
end of the
pumps.
day, at the end of the day, they were 4
That's
feet
all they
to
wear
begin
is
with.
product.
They were 4 feet to begin with, and we're 6 feet tall. So at the end of the day, 4'6" is still not better than 6 feet tall.
And
Right,
because they
right.
jump so high, they're going to crash even harder
Yep,
when
yep,
they don't make their Super Bowl.
yep.
You know what I'm
And on
saying?
that, and on that note of hypocrisy that Lewis is talking about, I'll extend it to another example. Okay, Skylar Trash. See, I can't even freaking say the man's name without saying trash with it anymore. Okay, I mean, really, people, we're holding him to a standard that we don't even hold a 5th overall pick to.
Right.
And when we try to point that double standard out, they're like, "Well, y'all said it about Tua." No, I did
Yeah.
not. First of all, okay, and I don't care if you all said anything, but so that makes it right that we can
Right.
now do the same thing to Skylar Thompson.
And that
We
doesn't
can sit here. We can sit here and ignore the fact that Mike White was working with a better group the other night than he was. We can sit here and ignore the fact that at every turn, Skylar don't have the same opportunity as anybody being propped up in front of him.
Mhm.
We can point out the 3 drops by Jalen Waddle. They'll tell me it's because he's used to a left-hand thrower.
No, they'll tell you that you don't
I
have.
played
You don't
wide
believe in Tua.
receiver.
That is the most
I could
ridiculous
have
argument I've
I
ever
could
heard.
have my sister
left-handed
throw me the
thrower?
ball with her toe, and I'm gonna
No.
catch the dang thing.
And everything you said doesn't change
Whoever
the
used
fact
that
that
argument
Tua
color was
is the
terrible.
best quarterback on our roster. That doesn't
Right, but for
change
me,
that. But people
right,
will
but see,
hear what
that's
you
the thing,
said
Kari.
and then
That's
project
the
that on
thing.
you.
That's
Yeah.
why they project, because
Yeah.
the fact
Yeah.
that if I even say one good thing about another quarterback, it means that I either am not recognizing that Tua also has those qualities and is better, or I didn't give that same praise to Tua back then when he was
Right.
starting out like our 7th round rookie is, who
Yeah.
played
Right.
Buffalo with the 3rd best defense in the league to
And
3
gave it his
points
best shot.
in a playoff game. Do I
Right.
need to
Right. With
repeat
purpose.
myself?
Yeah.
Yep. And
What
by
are
the
we
way,
even talking about here?
one thing
Yeah.
I can say, Dr. Reginald Brown, and this is on wax in this very show, Smoke Lounge, with myself and Lewis and Crypto was there. I asked him straight up. He was a former wide receiver in the NFL. Was how many of those 3 drops was on Waddle? How many was on Skylar Thompson? He said all 3 of those drops were on Jalen Waddle.
And that was
Yeah,
my
he
first
did say
take
all
that
3 of
day
them.
it happened, Shake. But even
Yeah,
I,
Reggie did say that shit.
even I came to the table and conceded and let
Yeah.
them have even 2 of those.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just catch one of those balls, and how does that change Skylar's stat line for that night?
So
Yep.
so
What does
yeah.
it do for
See,
the
so
outcome of the
beyond the
game? So what does it
hypocrisy,
do for the outcome?
beyond the hypocrisy, this is really about the insecurity about Tua's place on the team. This is just an extension of that same old argument we've been having for the last 2-3 years in this community. And again,
Right. And
I
what's
would
going to
beg
happen from
people
this?
separate.
What would happen normally, Kahari, from a discussion like this? Hearing me say the things I'm saying, hearing you
You're
say
a
the
hater.
things you're
Yeah.
saying. What would normally happen tomorrow is that I will be lambasted as a person who thinks Skylar should be QB1,
Right.
all because of what I just said.
Yep.
Right. Right. And that's unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to point out too. Speaking of on paper, this I hate to take it to baseball, but one of the teams I hate is the Mets. Right? I hate all New York teams, by the way.
It's okay. So do I.
You're showing your age.
And on paper, dude, they
If you're a
spent the
little bit
most
older,
money.
Shake,
They spent
you
the
would love the
most
Mets.
money on the offseason, right? And by All-Star break, they're fucking shipping out all the players they bought.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
on paper, that shit didn't do them any good, and I think that's
It's even
the
worse
other-
in baseball, Shake. It's disgustingly worse in baseball, man.
They spent
Yeah.
all that fucking money.
I mean, you got a St. Louis Cardinal in the name of David Freese, who is a hometown hero, grew up in St. Louis, okay, hits the game-winning home run in like Game 6 of the World Series or something to keep the series going or something like that, right? Okay, parks it right on the grass in St. Louis in his own stadium, okay, if you remember the call from Joe Buck, it was when the ball was in the air. He was saying, "We will see you and tomorrow night," right as the ball's landing on the grass, right? Because he walked off a game-winning home run to save the series, and we went on to win the World Series that year against the Texas Rangers, right?
Mm-hmm.
This dude just turned down the St. Louis Cardinals were going to put him in their Hall of Fame, and he turned it down.
Damn. Oh man! And by the way, to all
I don't know how anybody follows that sport.
And by the way, to all the Mets fans that think that I was taking a jab at them, you're right, I was. So anyway,
Shake, if you were a little bit older and saw Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, them boys, Ron Darling, them boys, you'd have a little bit of love for the Mets, man.
I'm from.
I mean, credit to David. Credit to David. Well, credit to David Freese for recognizing that it's a team sport still, even though it's an individualistic sport. You know, and that they couldn't have done what they did without others involved too. So that's why he turned it around. Real honorable thing to do, but it just illustrates the difference between football and baseball. I mean, you know.
I mean, and discuss Darryl Strawberry and them dudes. How you get high and miss the parade? Like, I don't get that.
Damn.
There was a lot of cocaine in the 80s, bro. There was a lot of cocaine in the 80s. Cocaine is cheap.
I was going to the parade, and then I got high.
There was it wasn't all weed. I'll tell you that.
That's called
a hell of a drug.
That is called right. That is called not liberated, which means that drug was usurping his liberty.
He became a slave.
TV. That was the craziest shit. They were getting high watching it on TV. Talking about, we supposed to be there right now.
Keith Hernandez is admitted to being high during the games on coke.
Yeah, I heard that.
So you know.
Well, what about old Lawrence Taylor? What about old Lawrence Taylor in the Giants parking lot?
Oh my God, Michael Irvin. We can. I mean, the list can go on.
Everybody on the Cowboys.
Lyle Zato.
Oh yeah, yep. Even if we go back to the Jets, Mark Gastineau, them guys were roided up. Him and Klecko, them boys. You know.
And Doc has pointed out how many people used to smoke cigarettes, like halftime. You know what I mean? They're smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Like,
wow. There's a picture of the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback smoking a cigarette at halftime.
Lynn Dawson.
Hey, but so my next topic of discussion is obviously the offensive line. On a scale of 1 to 10, we'll start with Lewis and then Color, KP, Touchdown, Tyree. Work that way. Crypto, how confident are you on this offensive line? And tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, and tell me what are your concerns with this offensive line?
Well, for me, it's just the depth. Like, I think Austin Jackson is still a wait and see. I like Isaiah Wynn at left guard. I think Connor, we already know what we got. Robert Hunt, we already know what we got. And if Terron Armstead is healthy, we know what we have there. And again, this is where I'm positive about the team. But when I hear people within the fan base say, well, we have holes here, and there might be a hole. Bro, no team is perfect. Even the Kansas City Chiefs are not perfect. So, again, I think Robert Hunt is solid. Connor Williams was top 10. We know what Terron Armstead is about. Bro, that's 3/4 of the offensive line that is pretty much solidified, right? Let's say Austin Jackson pans out on the right side and you get, let's say, top 10 to top 15 play with Isaiah Wynn. The offensive line is not the problem, in my opinion. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not going to say 10, Shake. I'm not even going to say like a 6.5, maybe 7. I would say they're above average at this point for me. So I'm good, man.
What do you think they're gonna rank? If last year we ranked 22? You think we'll be at least be top 15?
22.
Well, Shake,
22,
again.
yeah, right.
When Tua Tagovailoa was playing at an MVP level and we were sitting at 8-3, I think there was like a 4 or 5 game stretch where they ranked inside the top 10.
Okay.
So if I can get top 15 play, bro. I just think they have to be middle of the road. There's 32 teams. You give me a top 15 offensive line, and I think this offense and Tua and everybody else, right? Bro, that's another thing. I don't even say Tua's name no more. I leave that to everybody else because that's the topic of conversation. When I talk about the offense, it's offense. Like everybody wants to make it, oh, well, it's a Tua thing, and Tua missed this pass, or Tua threw a 75-yard touch. Bro, it's the offense in general. So
Oh
that's
man, I love that statement, Lewis. I love that.
I think for the offense, I think the offense with a top 15 play at offensive line, if we can get there, I think we'll be fine offensively.
All right,
considering we were 9-8 with a 22nd ranked offensive line.
What's your answer, Color? What on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you think of this?
10 being little concern and 1 being a lot of concern, or
yeah. That's exactly how it is.
I'm at a 9.5, right where Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer are at.
Okay, that's what's up.
And for the same reasons as Lewis just illustrated, and that I followed him up with by saying, look, we got 9 wins last year. We could say we didn't get any more because of the health of the quarterback, because of all this and that or the other, the defense. But bottom line is, if you improve our offensive line from 22nd ranked to even 15th, imagine what heights we could achieve given how much yardage we put down on paper with the 22nd ranked offensive line.
All right. Kari?
Kari? Yeah, Lewis laid it out, and I could definitely see that. I would tend to agree. My number is hovering around an 8, with shading between a 7 and an 8, but I'll give it an 8. 8 like 80, 81 if we go up a decimal point, I guess. But the only reason it holds me back from seeing 4 solid guys on a 5-man line as adequate enough is the one practice I went to. And in that one practice, it was evident that Austin Jackson was getting blown the F up. I wish I didn't see what I saw. I wish I could erase those memories, those visions. But that injected in me, based on that one firsthand observation, that injected a lot of doubt. Right? And so I'm not 100% certain that if we don't solve that right tackle position, Tua being a left-handed quarterback, that we're going to be in trouble. Because remember, the health of Tua is critical to the success of this team. Right. And again, what I saw on that practice kind of scared me a little bit, because I saw some glaring mistakes. For instance, and I don't want to keep belaboring the point, but I saw how whenever we went, or when we first attempted to do play action passes with Tua at the beginning of the scrimmage, and even in the 7-on-7s before that, I guess it would have been in the 11-on-11s in the scrimmage, that we didn't have any time to load up and throw deep. And it was because of the pressure, from my opinion, I might be wrong, but which was coming from that side. And I don't want to see that same sort of thing happen in the regular season. But again, like Lewis said, and like Color backed him up, I don't want to invest no more draft capital, free agent capital on this line. We should have enough horses in the stable to put forward a good effort on the O-line. So I'm going to stick to my 80%.
All right, Tyreek, go ahead. What's your
hopefully that makes sense.
What's your on a scale of 1 to 10 on this offensive line?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I said, yeah, I'm sorry, but I buffered for a second. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be like a 6, and it's because what KP was just talking about. I'm worried about. I think the Tua's blind side shouldn't have been ignored the way that it is. I think that was like GM negligence, and I think that because, and this is for me. I think to pacify the fact that we didn't get Dalvin Cook, we should take that money and get him a right tackle for real to help that situation. And I like you said, if we could get 3 out of 5 linemen, that's 3/5. That's more than 50% of a better line. But I think we should have at least 4 decent linemen. And that's especially right tackle with the blind side. We have to improve that.
You don't think Wynn brings us up to number 4 if he's starting at left guard? Or even the promising showing of Robert Jones?
When helps God, those are,
Perhaps
I heard that.
KP.
You know what? Lamb looks
But
good too. Lamb looks good too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think we have the bodies. Let's just see how it comes together. You know what I'm saying? But if Austin Jackson is the plan, you know what I mean? He's improved, but out of like what you just described is it's the same thing that I saw, and it's like I'm not sure about that.
Go ahead, Crypto. Where's
the piggyback on that? I would say, well, between a 6 and a 7, but I would say I would like to get the final numbers on William on his pressure percentage he allowed on Mac Jones and the quarterbacks that they had, whoever was in at the time, to give me more comfort on whether or not if he perhaps is the guy replacing Eichenberg. And I would say this, like I always say, when we don't expect the unexpected, if Liam Eichenberg somehow beat him out, just buckle up. But that being said, that's neither here nor there. If that's the case, then we all know what we're in store for. But guess what? I'll take the Mike McDaniels approach. If you're happy with average, then you better be delighted.
Yeah, and
so that's to me. I'm gonna keep quoting that to the point I'm putting that on the T-shirt. And another thing, like we have different groups. Running back room can help out the O line, make them look good, vice versa. Quarterback can make line look good, and vice versa.
Yep.
I would say this: it's been over a year since that Houston, Texas game. And shout out to the homie Von Joe when he said this: the real MVP of this offense is Terrell Armstead. And it showed glaringly when he went out in that second half, on how the whole offense folded like a cheap suit. I mean, it just imploded in and on itself when one guy went out of the offensive line. We're talking about 1 out of 5 guys went out. And the whole entire system fell. It was like it was built on a freaking stack of cards. You remove one card and the whole freaking thing collapsed? No, bro. That's what depth comes into play. If you're going to say we got the depth of a freaking Harton Castle, then that's what we got to, put up or shut up at. Because we can't be having when one guy gets taken out of the offensive lineup, on the offensive line, one of the 4 guys is out. And then next thing you know, you got your coach panicking where he can't even keep his starting quarterback in the game. He's so freaking nervous because 4 consecutive sacks ensued immediately upon him getting taken out of the game. And it was just a disaster. And then after that, the backups didn't fare well neither. When he did get taken out, it was just a complete implosion of the offense when the one guy was taken out of the lineup.
We weren't ready.
So we can't have that. We need to be to a point where you can't be dependent on just one guy.
Our
in the
losing
lineup.
streak started with that too. The losing streak started
with
him being hurt.
So that's why a lot of people like to go back to the San Francisco game. Actually, the demise started in the second half of the Houston game, not the San Francisco game. That's where everybody gets mixed up. The collapse started in the second half of the Houston game, not San Francisco. It was before we even got on the plane, before we went to San Francisco.
Yep, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, Crypto, when that collapse on offense started, our defense gave up 15 points. Isn't that what a coinky dink, man?
What a
just saying.
We were pitching a shutout on that, and that what's it called? It was kind of yin to the yang, The offense was cooking, the playing good with Armstead in there, and everybody was cooking, and then all of a sudden, the defense folded like a cheap suit too, and gave up 15 points.
And I think people just fundamentally misunderstand how our defense was built. Now, it may be built different now because of Fangio and all that. We may be doing something altogether different. But for people that want to, hold the defense accountable last year, our defense was literally built in the way that is predicated upon the offense holding on to the ball. Especially and this isn't to excuse anything, but especially when you're dealing with problems on defense with injuries and guys missing, and you're already behind the 8 ball, giving up more points than you normally do, your offense has to keep the ball. and they have to score. We can't be running up 2,000 yards for one receiver and be practically mid or last in the league in scoring. That just doesn't add up.
That makes sense.
There's a fundamental disconnect right there. How can we have all this yardage and just be in the dumps with points? We were scoring more points in Fitzpatrick's last year with us per game than we did last year. Despite everybody thinking how awesome our offense was and how different it was and all this and that and the other, the only thing that we did differently was lay down a boatload of yardage. That's all we did.
Yep.
Yeah, we played inside the 20s very well. We the best in the league.
That the Tyreek Hill
20-yard line.
And I think when you look at the offseason moves that you would expect to see made, you would think, okay, we're going to rectify that problem. There's a lot of things that can rectify that problem, but and we could argue whether we've made those moves to do that or not. Offensive line, I don't know if that's the one thing that's going to, other than penalties and discipline, I don't think that's the one thing that's going to all of a sudden we're putting up more points on the board.
Yeah. Because you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You can't keep doing that, and that's going to stall out.
And that's a matter of discipline. That's a matter of discipline, which any offensive line could suffer from, in given times. But I think there's one more person that didn't give their rank.
Dolphin Winters.
The Winners, that's right. I thought it was you down there, Winners. I can't see names right now, and y'all are halfway blurred.
Hey, by the way, who the 50? Is that Junior Seau's jersey? Is that a Junior Seau's? Is that a Junior Seau's jersey?
Porter.
I can't even see the screen, man. Oh, Joey Porter. I can't even see the screen,
guys,
man. But
I also want to point out.
But go ahead.
I want to also point. Well, you finish up, Crypto. But I also want to point out that I am able to stop the rambling too, and remember who was on, whose turn it was. Just pointing that out. I want to take credit. Go ahead, Crypto.
First, I want to thanks for Shake for having me tonight, and it's always a pleasure being with you guys and chatting with y'all. Dolphin Den in the house.
Yeah.
My answer is 100. The reason why I'm gonna say this is I need to see a team and an O-line that's going to protect and allow these plays to develop. It doesn't matter who's the quarterback at the time. It could be Tua, it can be Mike White, and it could be Skylar Thompson. I need the O-line to have a performance like they did in the playoff game against Buffalo. They did not play bad. Gentlemen. I'm going to tell y'all that. For a 22nd ranked offensive line, they played very well. We were 3 points away from winning that game. So I still have concerns because I gotta see the progress. We all got to see the progress for this year. This is all brand new. 2023. We're going into a new season. We are being talked in like the Super Bowl talks. We are being mentioned in the Super Bowl talks. You have to win in between the X's and the O's to be that team that will be in there January and February. That's period. You can have all the playmakers. You can have all the speed you want. You can have all of this shit.
Yep.
If you don't win between the X's and O's, the small little things, those 0.5 of a second to give the quarterback or the play to develop, you ain't going nowhere. You're sitting on the couch with a whole bunch of other teams.
And if you ain't putting points up, you're sitting on the couch.
Control and popcorn in your hand, just like me.
They don't. Unfortunately, Winners, to your point, they don't award points for thousands of yards.
True.
They award points for crossing the goal line. You know what I mean? And they award the win to the team with the most points. So your point is spot on, man.
Right. And if I could add, and just because we may have made improvements, right, and gotten better in this way or that way, doesn't rule out the fact that another team somewhere else might have made even more improvements and be. And we don't know how to deal with that in the end.
Exactly, KP. That's the acknowledging that other aliens in the galaxy, not just us.
Yeah,
exactly.
And one thing I want to point out is the fact that I know it's a preseason depth chart doesn't mean nothing because they got Zach Saller ahead of
Wilkins?
Not Wilkins, Agba.
Raekwon.
Yeah, no Agba. They got Saller ahead of Agba. They have it's the depth chart is Peely is behind Raekwon. They got I forgot who the dude is behind Christian Wilkins, but they got Seiler, and they got Agba, and then of course on the offensive line, as a starter, they got Eichenberg, and then Wynn is behind him. So
how
do
it's
you
gonna
think
work,
that's
though.
Right. That's the
That's not how it's gonna
projected
work.
lineup. Eichenberg's still number 1 on the depth chart. That's why I tell everybody to buckle up because it's going to be a lot of long faces on
That's
September 11th.
that's not the report that I read just recently. I read that they're giving up on Eichenberg, and he's going to be taken out
Yeah,
the left guard rotation.
I'm not sure if they did that.
That's what I.
Well, they
the
better
He might
change
not
scrimmage.
that.
make the.
They better
He's
update that website
now.
then.
Right now, he might not make the 53. That's what I'm.
In the scrimmage, in the
He's
practice that I
guaranteed to
went
make the
to,
53. If you believe in Creer and how he rolls, he's definitely making the
Shit.
53-man
Oh
roster.
yeah,
in
because
the
he got to back up his picks.
well,
But
I would
I don't
I
know.
would hope you'd be wrong about that, Crypto, and that we cut bait when it's time to cut bait. But in that scrimmage that I attended, that practice that I attended, that was the first where Eichenberg had been demoted, and Wynn was taking first team reps at that left guard position. So
Yep.
at this point, if it doesn't
Jones is
show up
ahead of
on
That's
the
him.
true,
written
but
depth chart,
Wynn
that
didn't
might
get to
just
start
be
in
a
that
formality.
preseason game. Wynn should have
Yeah,
started in the preseason game, though, if it wasn't really a battle. I don't know. All I'm just saying is just don't embrace for impact if it doesn't go out to what most
He's
of the
not.
people
It's
fair
not
want.
going
enough.
to
Fair
happen.
enough. I can see that. Fair enough, bro.
Did you have more to say, winners, on your take,
I
buddy?
mean, really, that's mostly I wanted to say tonight. But I'll say this. I'll say this as a whole. And I'm not trying to get off the subject. And this is for the fans. This is for the listeners. And this is for the viewers of the video right now. Take one moment at a time. Embrace the season and enjoy it as a fan. We are all going to sit there and put our opinions out there. You all are going to call us out for stuff that we say on each platform. It could be this one, my platform, blockers, and we can go on forth. Enjoy the entertainment. Take a deep breath. Make sure you guys are still breathing now and live your life, because this is all it is. It's football. I love it, like everybody on this panel. But it's life after and life before it. I just want to leave it just like that.
Yeah.
Right. Back to our positions.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? It's funny you say that, winners, because I was gonna show y'all actually. I know it's like nostalgic and all. No audience probably don't really care, but you know how some people that grow their beards out, like it's like I'm gonna start growing this beard out till we win the Super Bowl, right? Stuff like that. Well, I just want to point out that probably about 3 weeks before Dalvin Cook even was known to be available, I planted these seeds of these plants I'm about to show you, right? And yesterday, Dalvin Cook became a New York Jet, right? And in all that time, this is what we're looking at, gentlemen, right?
Wow.
I planted these seeds
Wow.
before Dalvin Cook became available. Okay.
Nice.
Just pointing that out, bro. Time moves on.
I got one better color.
The sun still shines every morning. These plants are still going to grow no matter what happens with Dalvin Cook, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, and everything else. So perfect.
And it's always going to be another beautiful day in Zamunda.
Absolutely.
I got a question.
Well, I got one better. I got one better, Crypto. I'm sorry, I got one better color. You see this? Can you see this?
Yeah.
I got this from Mexico this year. This is my voodoo skull. This ensures. Hold on, where is it? Can I get it back on? Oh, dang. All right. This ensures the success of the team this year. This thing right here. If I rub on the head, we're winning. Okay.
Yeah.
I got the voodoo implements in play.
We'll take it.
I got a question.
Hey, listen, we need a win because I want to open up this bottle of champagne to celebrate our first playoff win.
There you go.
Right, exactly. We don't need to be putting that on ice for any longer, Shake Money.
Shake.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask a question.
What's up?
Okay. It was like, maybe it's 2 weeks ago, right? And I think Greer and Mike McDaniels kind of had put out. It was, to me, I thought it was kind of shady. And they had said, well, we they mentioned every running back in the running back room, and it was like, we're good with them. And it was like obvious that they wasn't really trying to court Dalvin Cook. My question is, do you think it was because of that report that came out from a couple of years ago about him beating the shit about his significant other? I think that's what it was, man. I think that turned them off.
Well, the thing about it is, I think we've had players with checker pass, so I don't think that's
exactly.
Because at the end of the day,
but that's
not to mention
that's 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he didn't. If you look at the video, she did most of the hitting. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So,
if the Dolphins believe that Dalvin Cook's talent right now was at the same level as a Tyreek Hill, then just like with Tyreek Hill, they would have signed that man and not cared a damn about that little controversy. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Oh shit, Ross, and I want you to think about this.
They turn a blind eye to a lot of stuff.
Ross, with all those allegations, he still pursued Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, he still pursued him.
Right. Matter of fact, remember what Ross
away from happening.
Right. Remember, Ross wasn't even concerned about the criminal stuff. He was concerned about the civil.
About the civil stuff, right?
Because that would affect the money. That would affect the bottom line. You know what I mean? So
he said settle the civil stuff.
Right.
The criminal, he already knew that it was the hogwash.
Exactly. So. And on top, and I also want to further point out that I there's no way to know whether this has anything to do with anything or was really a signal or anything. But way back when we found out that there was an offer made, okay, and that not only was there an offer made, but the Dolphins were actually in talks with the Vikings about a trade and all that for Cook, so they were interested. And now when we found out about it, it was a month or two after it actually happened. And the reports were that the offer was made sometime in like mid-March. Okay. Well, if you go back and look and watch a couple of our shows, because I said it flippantly as a joke a couple times. Okay. That week was the week that they put out social tweets about Cater Kahoo being given number 4. And I made the correlation. I asked the question, was that a signal to Dalvin that we're not going to be toyed with?
Yeah.
That we don't need nothing here. And not only that, we're going to give your number to one of our DBs.
Mm-hmm.
An undrafted DB who panned out. Because that's how we roll here. So if you're not willing to roll here like that, sorry, we don't have the money for you.
And
that to me looked like a signal saying something to Dalvin's camp by then putting it out there that they gave Cater Kahoo number 4. And everybody just says, oh, Cater picked it or this or that or the other. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm reaching, but it just so happened that when we gave Cater Kahoo number 4 was the same week that they supposedly made the offer to Dalvin Cook.
And when they interviewed Cater Kahoo recently about that, and they was trying to see if he would be diplomatic about giving up the number 4 if we got Dalvin Cook. He was like, nah, man, I like my number 4.
Like, exactly. Like, who's Dalvin Cook? Right. That's what he's saying there. Who's Dalvin Cook? I'm Cater Kahoo. I'm the best open field tackler on this team.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all said and done, I don't know if Dalvin Cook's going to be very happy with his representation and his agency, because to me, almost from the beginning, he gave up all of his leverage by signaling that he wanted to come to the Dolphins. Once he did that, he gave up his leverage in terms of, okay, well, are you going to come here for cheap then? You know what I'm saying? That automatically would have become the Dolphins' stance when it came to offering Dalvin, especially given his injury history with the shoulder, age, all those factors. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe his agent. I remember his agent made an appearance on Stephen D's show a few months back too, and I wasn't. I don't know the dude at all, but I wasn't as impressed. I wasn't impressed.
Months ago.
Yeah, so I don't know if he handled this situation the right way in retrospect. But hey, that's his decision to make with his representation.
He's comfortable with it. Now he's coming out and saying it was the Jets all along for him, which is laughable, but also funny and ironic. You know what I mean? That it was always going to be the Jets for him.
When I heard he practiced with them, I knew it was a foregone conclusion.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna, since Lewis made it one of the themes for tonight's show, I'm going to go ahead and point out or illustrate another, because I think we have just illustrated another hypocrisy in that when Chris Greer comes out and says, McDaniel and I are less worried about the offensive line than you all are, and they come out and say, our running back room is fine. We love everybody here. Okay? And I believe it, and I take it for what it is. People tell me I'm being gullible, yet isn't that why I'm supposed to believe Tua is the guy? Because Chris Greer said he was, and they're perfectly comfortable with
it. Right.
In
But you can
general,
believe that for
So
one player,
I've
but not
done
believe
that.
it for
So I've
another.
done that. I've made that change. Okay. I trust the powers that be. We're rolling with Tua. Now
see,
go Tua. You know what I mean? But they said they're fine with the offensive line. They said they're fine with the running back room. Why did anybody think we were going to do anything?
in general, I'd never
point,
believe
yeah,
anything coming out of the mouths of the top brass, because in the end, a GM of any quality is always thinking about the long-term game and how, this move or that move or this decision, that decision is going to affect the long-term, positioning of the team. So, I mean, our O-line is solid. Our running back,
Sure, Kahari. The hypocrisy that I was pointing out was in the appeal to authority fallacy itself. That's why it's a fallacy. Because
100%, Color.
You know what I mean? When somebody says "shut up, Color," how can you argue with Greer and McDaniel who say Tua is Dan Marino? Well, okay, I can't. That's an appeal to authority fallacy, but I'll let it go. So I say, okay, fine. Let's go Tua. Right now, fast forward to what they say about the offensive line and the running back room, and that the appeal to authority fallacy is put on me. Like I'm not supposed to appeal to that authority now. All of a sudden, it's a fallacy again.
It's a double standard. Right.
Yeah, that's the double standard, right? It only can be used as one application.
All is fair in love and Dolphins fanhood.
You remember, guys? I made a whole comedy bit out of it. Remember the door? Chris Greer saying the door was closed and all that? Mm-hmm. And I was made to believe that because that's what Chris Greer said. And all I could come back with was that doors are made to be open. Right? That was all I could come back with. And it turned out the door really was closed.
That door has hinges. Right.
Yeah,
all
but
doors
the door
have hinges.
But the thing about it, the thing I liked about Color's door was it had no walls.
Right.
Remember, it was a door in the middle, right along a hedge grove. So you could just jump the hedge grove and go around it. That's right.
Exactly.
A door with no walls.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Shake, with all this alien talk in the House of Representatives, maybe it was a door to the another galaxy, another dimension.
Hey, by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Big E. You know, everybody knows Big E. He was a fan.
Listen, man, and going back to the reference to the Twitter talks earlier, man. Yeah, it gets very hyperbolic, man. It gets raunchy in them things, man. Me personally, I don't like hearing the N-word all the damn time. It's just me, my old, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there's a lot of great points.
I'm glad you said that.
Just sit back and
that's why I don't feel the same way. But I ain't gonna take from what nobody sees as their right and culture. So but I agree.
Well, that's my position as well. Even though I'm a black guy, but that's just me, right? And it's become ubiquitous. So, but beyond that, the point I'm trying to make though is that beyond all of that, the rough edges of it, it's a really good debate, man. People make some great novel points. Like I said, I learn a lot, man, hearing people go at it in those spaces. So, it's rough though, but props to the Twitter.
Dalvin Cook aged a little bit. Look at Dalvin.
That's the new meme, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what we're doing now? Really? Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah,
that's official. He's an enemy. He's official.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's how it
goes. Of course, you look at Aaron Rodgers.
That we could point out that hypocrisy too, but it's too fun. I'm sorry. I'm with that one, man. Like, yeah, they suck now, man. Aaron Rodgers is trash. Dalvin Cook ain't never run the football in his life. And yeah, that's where I'm at now. They're Jets, man. What can I say?
Imagine if Dalvin Cook chose the Jets precisely because they are on Hard Knocks, and he wants to gain publicity for his Hall of Fame,
There you go.
appeal in 3 or 4 years.
Wow, that's a take right there, Kahari. I hadn't even thought of that myself.
That's what's up.
Personally, I think that's a bullshit ass take, but it's it's within the
Not
realm of
really,
possibility.
not for a Dolphin fan, because if that's all he's going there for, that means his heart ain't in it for them, bro, and that's fine with me.
Right. Because for me, I mean, I don't think he's a Hall of Fame back right now, but if he can be the guy who puts them over the top, right, and has some good stats to back him, I think his argument really grows. So I'm sure his representation would have at least discussed something like that with him, but I don't know.
Yeah, he'll get a bulk of the carries for the first half, probably the first 4 or 5 games.
Total speculation, though,
That's
man.
probably what his agent was telling them.
Yeah.
From a money standpoint, he received enough where he don't have to worry about a heavy payload for the whole duration of the season.
Oh man! So anyway, we about to wrap up anyway.
And for a little, I'm sorry, Shake. For a little extra tax money, he doesn't have to practice in 95-degree heat.
One last question.
Oh, what's up?
Does Chris Brooks make this team?
I don't think so.
What?
No,
he's gonna be like he's our Quandre White from last year.
Right.
Great question, man. Listen. I was a running back myself. Not that I was any good. You know what I'm saying? I was good at the high school level. Let's just say that. But there's a position that I watched the closest, honestly, throughout my life as a football fan, and I like the way he looked, his stature, his build. He looks like the prototypical 3-down back. And from what I've seen, I like his first step. I like his ability to accelerate in the hole. And I know he has the body that can last. Now, that really doesn't mean shit, right? Because, we've seen backs like that before. He's shifty enough, fast enough at that size. To me, he shows great potential, and he's popped off a couple times in practice. So does that mean he's a lock? Hell no. Does that mean he's going to be any good? I do not know. But he to me, he looks like a promising prospect at that position. Yeah, because he would change the dimension of our backfield. And I mean, our guys are kind of samey. Our 4 guys are short little scat back types, really, and he legitimized, if at his best, he would legitimize.
3rd and 1.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm reserving judgment until we can confirm whether he's related to the former Cincinnati Bengals running back James Brooks. I'm reserving judgment until then.
James.
Hey, but one thing I can say to your point.
I was gonna say this. My bad, Shake.
No, go for it.
Miscellaneous things. Sometimes a lot of people like to deduce it down to a money thing when it comes, and fair enough. People think pocketbook first, but a lot of things play in the factor, like where are you at as far as where you might live, where you might want to raise your family, school systems, healthcare systems. A lot of other things factor in to a person when they try to think about their family as well.
Climate.
So yeah, well, I guess you could say climate, but I tell you what, healthcare systems and school systems is on the top of a lot of people's radar as well, especially when they trying to raise a family. So that could go into a lot of people. That's a hidden secret. A lot of people.
You're right, Crypto. Earlier I said it in the Twitter space.
Go somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely, Crypto. I said it in the Twitter space earlier. I've been harping on this weather thing, climate thing all day. I think people really underestimate
climate
players that in particular that are from South Florida. I mean, not all of us wanted to live here forever. It's freaking hot, man. Like I lived in Missouri for 11 years, right? And if I came back home finally, but at the same time, I'm thinking like I probably should have stayed up there because it is hot down here. Like just because I'm from Florida and I love my home and I love everything about this place doesn't mean that's where I want to play football, especially if I've already done that for a
Right, or
third of
want to
my
be
life as
employed.
growing up as a
Right,
kid. You know what I mean?
right.
Yep.
Your
And people
employment there is
underestimate
different
that,
than
man. I really
retiring
think
there.
people underestimate that.
Right.
Yeah. No,
You might want to retire there, but you don't want to be employed there because
Right,
of the
right, right,
weather.
right. For
And you
instance,
outside.
With a
when
fucking
people
helmet
were
on.
saying he might just be trying to hold out a camp, right?
Hmm.
Well, why would he want to be doing that?
1,000
Because it's
degrees
freaking
outside.
hot out there, man.
It's not right, right. He at least get to skip 8 games down there now, Right.
Hey, but hey, going back
Now
to
you
the
only got
Brooks
to play
point.
one game down there now.
Hey, but
Go,
before you do, I just want to say
Exactly.
that remember that the San Francisco 49ers always had UDFA running back as a featured back. So
yeah,
and
ready to go. That's how
yeah,
Wilson got in the mix. And
yeah.
Yeah, with
and
Jeff Wilson.
what was the name of the back that we had the last 2 seasons? That was our seventh rounder. Who's a lot of people were calling for
Gaskin.
him. No,
Gaskin.
not
No,
Gaskin.
Dokes.
Oh, Dokes.
Dokes. Yeah, Jared Dokes.
Dokes.
Yeah, if we compare Jared Dokes to Chris Brooks, I take Chris Brooks all day. I think Chris
Yeah.
Brooks has already shown that he is miles better
So
than Jared Dokes ever was
if
in
that's the
terms of a
case,
running back
Kahari,
prospect. Yeah.
if that's the case, Kahari,
Mhm.
then the question really is for a guy like me who understands what Gaskin's role is, despite the fan base not understanding it at large. Like he might, if you're saying that, not if you're saying, I mean, I value your opinion. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you're saying that,
Point.
then for me, it's like, if that tells me he could be better than our litmus and finally knock Gaskin off that throne, you know what I
I
mean,
was
and get
impressed.
him out of here, you know what I mean?
Well, I was talking about Dokes. Just to make it clear, I think Brooks is better than Dokes.
Right,
I'm
right.
not
That's what
ready
I'm
to
saying.
say. I'm not ready to say Brooks will get Gaskins out of here.
Well, fair enough. But
Yeah,
Gaskin is the litmus that
Okay.
right.
Dokes couldn't
You couldn't
fulfill.
move
You know what I
Gaskins.
mean? Right,
Right.
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 Gotcha.
You can get
Gotcha.
past that test.
Another
And
thing.
again, it's just based on seeing Brooks and then watching him in the first preseason game.
Right. Yeah. We'll see him on
And by the way,
Tuesday. I mean, not Tuesday, Saturday.
See, everybody thinks like some people hype it up, some people don't. But I'm of the thought that Gaskin basically did what he did Friday night was remind everybody why he gets a roster spot every year and why he's the litmus test. If you can't do what he did Friday night, you don't
Right.
belong on this football team as a running back.
He certainly didn't hurt himself with that burst to the outside that he took for
Right.
30, 40
Right,
yards.
but that's what I mean, Kahari. If you
Yeah,
can't even do what he does, you don't belong on this football team.
Right.
Yeah, but
right.
when the season starts, it'll be Gaskin gain or 2.
Yeah.
Gaskin.
Well, of course. I mean, he is still an RB4. That's where people start to. No, I don't want to say move the goalpost, but they forget that we were talking about RB4. I'm not pumping up the Gaskin as this world beater. I'm just saying I've explained reasons why I think he continues to be on this team while everybody every year thinks he's the odd man out. You know what I mean?
Because he has great intangibles. He blocks. He tries to block, even though he's slight.
And he's obviously he might be our weakest link. But obviously, no other guy has been able to be better than him. Otherwise, he would have been off the squad by now.
Been gone.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah. He stood the test of time. Him and Noah are like time watchers. They're like the time watchers.
You can't get rid of him, man. You can't get him.
Right. So I love it, Shake. And so knowing that he's not a world beater and knowing that he's nothing more than an RB4, when I try to figure out the reasons he might just continue to be on this squad, I can't just say, oh, well, if it's because they like him. Well, no, that only goes so far. I think, okay, maybe they're saying, look, he is our weakest link, but nobody thus far has been better than that. So he's going to continue to be a litmus for us. If you can't beat out Gaskin, you don't belong on this team.
Yeah.
Sony
And
Michel
listen, he brings all the skills, man. He can catch out of the backfield. He's nifty. He's got enough burst to get outside, and then he'll stay faithful to run your inside run.
Another thing people forget: he knows this scheme like the back of his hand. He ran it in college.
Absolutely.
All of it. Inside zone, outside zone, all of it.
But let's talk about
He
A
knows it.
Chain.
He knows it.
I want to talk a little bit about A Chain before we leave Shake, if it's okay.
Oh yeah, go for it, bro.
All right, look, on A Chain, because I know me and Lewis had a little discussion on A Chain a couple days ago. But with A Chain, listen, he's a third round running back, right? Which is, you can get prime quality, talented running backs third round. For me, the only knock on him is indeed his size. I don't know if at his size he can handle a full workload, but he is the kind of back who's going to maximize his touches and be a threat to score and a threat for a big play on every. But I think the only reason he was a third rounder and perhaps not a second rounder was indeed that the size issue.
Well, tell you what, Art, you and I can start a GoFundMe and we'll raise up some money to go buy him like a king's dinner. You know what I mean? Just like feed him.
He's gained weight since the draft.
Yeah, he has. He's solid looking right now, but he's still diminutive. He's still diminutive.
Listen, he's the same height. He's the same height, but 20 pounds lighter than Barry Sanders.
Right. And that's the thing. And that's the thing, Shake.
5'9", 200.
And you hit it on the head with the comp because it's like, I'm a patient guy. I mean, I usually pump the brakes when it comes to the hype and all that stuff of a given player, but from having seen him Friday night firsthand, right out on the field, it's like, man, okay, I was a little impressed at the very least. And what I'll tell you what I was impressed with falls along with Shake's saying and what Kahari's saying. When this guy hits a pile, like some guys, and we all love it when they do, some guys will get all wrapped up, got 5 guys draped on them, and they'll carry that pile like 2 yards, right? And we're like, oh yeah, good strong back, love that, right? This dude will hit the outside of a pile of 5 guys and move that pile 2 yards.
He's definitely got burst.
I mean, the dude hits so hard, man. If that hole's opened up, you're talking Emmitt Smith level hole hitting, bro. You know what I mean? He's in the secondary before the lineman even know he has the ball.
And he's so quick inside the tackles that he's going to make some guys miss that ought not to. My only thing with him, though, is just when you start piling on those hits week after week in a 17-game season, I don't know if at this stage in his career.
The good thing is some of the things I've seen on his college tape have already translated because obviously running back is easy to do, right?
There's no question in talent.
But here's the thing. One of the things I saw, which I hope would translate also, is this keen ability he has to make guys miss. Like he can actually he can swim really good one-on-one even. And it's like, so when you're talking about what gives him the ability to do that could also be utilized as a great cutback. So I think this guy actually has the ability to run a really nice counter trap and take a few to the house throughout the season.
He showed a cutback on an outside zone run that he got for like 8 yards in the Falcons game that showed just that. So, it's just that in college, he might have taken that to the house. But in the NFL, a safety or linebacker is going to put something on you.
I just meant he has the agility to make that cut is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he does.
He shows it when he beats guys in the open field. Like he'll actually kind of not shoulder a guy, but almost like stand up sort of and be like, and sidestep him and be like, excuse me, you know what I mean? And like push him off, you know what I mean? Like that's a great ability. As far as a running back goes, that's like what Walter Payton used to do, man. Run along the sideline and just swim through people like that,
Payton was not the biggest back either, but he was very physical. He was physical for a little guy. I wouldn't call Payton a little guy, but he wasn't the biggest guy.
Well, the thing of it is it would look like he was running straight north and south, but he'd still be swimming somehow, like through tackles. You know what I mean? A lot like how Lamar will go through a middle of a line of scrimmage and somehow come out outside the other end and like nobody touched him, but there was like 5 defensive tackles right there, or 5 D linemen that all could have had a hand on him. And it's like, how did he do that?
Well, certain backs who have that burst, that speed, that acceleration, that's what they put defensive players in a quandary because if they're coming at you too fast, you can't set
within inches, though. You know what I mean?
No, that is the difference.
Ramsey's
the speed makes that difference.
What I mean, Kari, is it's not as if he's approaching a guy and making him miss. What I'm saying is like these guys that are missing him are like 6 inches away from him, and he's in and out of them like they're not even there.
That is what the speed and acceleration creates, because when a defensive guy's coming up to tackle a guy, he's got to his body's got to go into position to make the tackle.
He is
right?
so much faster than everybody.
And when that running back is accelerating towards you faster than the other back, that just speeds up the process.
Right.
If your body can't make those kinds of contortions or get into position,
and
then
restarts.
Exactly.
Restarts, which is all in the hips and thighs, in the legs,
Right.
basically. So
Right.
believe it or not, a guy like Lamar Jackson could probably front kick a hole through your chest with his leg strength.
What is Ramsey's shake money? Ramsey's 40 time? Because I want to see if he's still faster than everybody's on our team. Is Lamar Jackson faster than everybody on our team?
Jalen Ramsey or
Ramsey, because he will be the back end guy.
Right, dare I sound like I'm caping for Lamar? I just wanted to point out the style of running. That's all.
Well, I thought you were talking about Lamar Miller, because that was Lamar Miller's exceptional trait.
Jackson,
Jackson.
But that was Lamar Miller's exceptional trait as a running back. That acceleration,
breakaway.
Yeah.
He has our longest run in history.
Did you guys ever see the when Michael Vick first entered the league? They did a side-by-side comparison from the thighs down of Barry Sanders and Michael Vick running on a given play.
He ran a 4.41.
And it was amazing to see the similarities between the way their feet and legs were moving. You know what I mean? It's like Michael Vick really can run like Barry Sanders, man. It's ridiculous.
I wanted to see who will be able to chase him down in the foot race if he's the break outside containment and gashes for another 79-yarder. I was trying to see who was the fastest guy on our defensive backs.
Only
the thing that made
Green,
Barry Sanders great, though, in that comparison, the thing that would make Barry Sanders better is the fact that he's like a lot bigger and has to expend a lot more muscle energy to make those cuts that Michael Vick was making. You know what I mean? So I still put Barry Sanders. I'm not saying Vick is better than Sanders running. I'm just saying that their running style is like ridiculously identical.
By the way, how much? How are you? How much do I have? How much time do you guys have?
As much as you got, Shake. I know we're probably rambling on you. You sounded like you wanted to shut it down earlier.
But I just have a question because I want to bring up something real quick. Depending on how much time you have, I'll bring it up. You have time?
I got a couple of hours.
Huh?
As much time as you need, Shake. I'm here.
How about you, Touchdown Tyree? Yeah. You got some time?
I'm here.
Okay.
What's going on?
All right. This will be the last subject of the day, and I just thought, because me and Crypto, we did a pilot a test episode of the 53-man roster, and we're obviously it's a test pilot. So Color, what we're gonna do is we're gonna air that episode because it's a bunch of it's like a blooper reel. I gotta send it to you, Crypto, by the way, so you can listen. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to it so I can improve on it, whatever. And that I'm gonna release that blooper reel. It's like it's funny, right? Mm-hmm. For members only. So
does it have Benny Hill music playing behind it?
I mean, maybe if I send it to HB, he'll do it. But anyway, all right. So when we were doing this, we were doing the 53-man roster breakdown, right? Mm-hmm. I noticed that, for the exception of Eichenberg, none of our offensive linemen are on contract next year. Every contract, we got Armstead. He did a 2-year deal. This is his second year. We got Isaiah Wynn did a 1-year deal. We got Connor Williams, who's this is his last year. Robert Hunt, this is his last year. Austin Jackson didn't get the 5th-year option, so this is his last year. None of our offensive linemen that we have this year have a contract next year. This is so if they don't do well, they could move off of every one of our offensive linemen with no issue. So we have next year. Is that, to me, I don't think that's bad, but is that concerning to you guys that we have no, except for Eichenberg, as far as starters are concerned, have any of these offensive linemen under contract next year?
I think it might be a good thing, Shake, because it'll give us the opportunity to cull out whoever didn't produce for us the way we want to, and we'll still have enough. Since we're not signed, there's a few guys that won't be signed. We'll have the ability to go get others to fill to continue to improve each gap, if you'll want to call it that, along the offensive line.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, but it's also a glaring piece of evidence that the guys we have drafted haven't really worked out because they would have been extended already, like you pointed out. When it comes to like Austin Jackson and I don't see
One
so
last chance for everybody.
yeah, make or break. I mean, we spent free agent money on Connor Williams, spent free agent money on Terrell Armstead, and we brought in now Lamb last season. What's the guy we got? Sheldon Wynn. If our O linemen we drafted are panning out, we're not wasting all this money, man, on free agents, man. We've got Michael Dieter over there in Houston, so I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
there's been a long legacy of linemen we draft other than Jake Long not panning out here and then going other places and establishing their career. So, it
Didn't
sucks,
Brandon
man.
Albert go somewhere and succeed too, or did he
Well,
retire with us?
he was more successful before he came to us.
Before
Right,
he
that
came to us,
before.
right?
Okay,
And
gotcha.
he had a good year with us too.
Yeah, he was like
He was a
all
part of
pro at
that last part of
KC.
our unicorn line.
Yeah, and he was solid for us, man.
That's right. He might have played with Marino, didn't he?
No. He was Albert.
No. Oh, okay.
Albert,
Yeah.
he
Way
came
after.
later. Yeah, he came after us.
He was part of
But
the
he was a
Wildcat
part of
offense, right?
the unicorn line. Yeah.
He played with Tunsil and those guys. Tunsil.
Yeah.
They moved Tunsil to left
That's
guard
right.
because
That's
we
right.
had Albert. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. He didn't
And Juwan
survive
James.
the regime change, basically.
Yeah. The Richie Incognito era.
Right.
Well, Shake, it'll give us a chance to clear the board and start over. But how much faith would you have in Greer replenishing the line next year?
Yeah, and you know what the reason I bring that up is because remember, we're supposed to be in a deficit next year.
Right.
We are.
So next year is we're gonna have the least amount of cap space. So how are we gonna replenish the line when we let's face it, we're not paying these players a lot this offensive line a lot of money.
Right.
I think that's what may be holding up Wilkins, right? Because it's got to be Wilkins and then Hunt, who you got to re-sign, and
Connor wants an extension.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Greer's got to be pulling out his hair. Oh yeah, that's right.
Well,
He's already.
This is why people can't understand why we're not going all in and going into debt to get enough firepower to win a Super Bowl this year. That's why people are concerned about it.
Yeah.
They expect.
Therein lies the rub right there.
If you're looking at it from those terms, then you're talking about, man, I don't want it to snowball.
We can't hear you, Color.
Yeah, you blacked out, Color.
You blacked out. We couldn't hear you.
How about now? How about now?
Perfect. You sound good.
Okay, so let's say Tua turns out to be average, a little above average, but not where we want him to be as an organization, right? So now you're talking about, does a quarterback like that survive a full rebuild, or even a more than half retool, or would you have
Like
to
a
go
modest
full rebuild?
retool
I
or
mean,
retool.
or are you talking about placeholder? Because if you're talking,
oh damn,
Color got kidnapped.
Yeah,
I think the Matrix got
Color
him.
I guess Color was trying to say the cash drive wasn't quite working, so they had to pop in a new memory stick or something. Something to that nature.
Did I get all that out? I wasn't sure. I lost my connection
No.
for a second.
We can hear.
All right, cool.
It was cut out. You were saying the memory chip had to be swapped out because not enough cash.
No, but I was saying if, like, let's say Tua is not where we want him to be totally, but he's good enough to still, like, is that going to survive a retool, or what? Because then we're talking about placeholder for a full rebuild. in Tua, and I just don't see them seeing him like that unless they really do and have been fooling the fans all this time. I don't know. It's up to Tua, I guess, like it always has been.
Yep. Yeah, it's up. Yep. He's leading us through the fortress, man. We got to storm the castle.
I mean, people wonder why everybody talks about him so much, but when it really boils down to it, it comes down to him.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
mean, he's been
when all else
polarized.
is even, right?
He's been polarized for this season, man. If he is who his biggest supporters say he is, then that'll bolster our chances of being a legit contender.
He solves all of our problems if he takes his seat, man.
Yeah.
If we're able to give him a modest increase, but not like the bag, you know what I mean? Not like historical bag, but we give him something fairly above Daniel Jones, let's say, that would save all of our problems. That would cure all of our issues. We need him to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're paying him $28 million next year on his 5th year and we're done with him, we have to be moving into full rebuild. I don't see how there's any alternative. Unless he's just going to be like, well, since it didn't work out all these other years, I guess it will now because I'm a placeholder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It will be a rebuild at that point.
Well, at least we have
Tariq will be off the team in 3 years.
At least we have a first round draft pick next year.
So it's not so much that it comes down to him whether we win or lose anymore. It is a team sport, and we've built a great team. But it does come down to him, what we do going forward with our money.
Are we the Rams in 3 years? Well, all we need is that one piece or 2 pieces, to complete the Super Bowl.
That's our problem now, Crypto. That move would have had to been made this offseason.
Yep.
We all were calling for it for the same reason, Crypto, remember? That move had to be made this offseason.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
Because we don't have the ability to keep up a team like the Rams did for Matt Stafford to come in now. Or whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, it's yet to, the book hasn't been fully written yet, but this is exactly what Flores was trying to get ahead of with the Deshaun thing. I mean, I don't want to go way back,
He was
but
trying to do it earlier. He was.
And hey, the book of Tua is not fully written. You know what I'm saying? If he can produce the kind of production that he did for most of the season last season, and carry that into the final quarter of the season, he will do himself well.
And I agree with that, Kahari, because his personal red zone percentage is pretty good. So that's going to come down to Mike McDaniel's job. Finding a way, not his job like in the respect of a hot seat or anything, but what I'm saying is it is incumbent upon him to find a way to adjust and record more scores for all this yardage Tyreek and the gang are putting up.
If we do that, I think we make a drastic improvement.
Absolutely. We literally can beat anybody in the league. That's where our lack of fear comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're a 13-win team at minimally if we can be highly efficient in the red zone.
Yeah. And by the way, just real quickly, anybody want a good wine to go with fried foods? Prosecco. It's a sparkling from Italy. I recommend that. That shit is awesome with fried foods.
All right.
Now everybody will forget about the part that Hey, Kahari, everybody will forget about the part where I said his red zone percentage is pretty good at the personal level. Everybody will forget I said that part. They'll all be like harping on the first part. You know what I mean?
You're the biggest Tua hater there is, bro.
I know, man. I know.
Yep.
And I will say that so far this camp, the ups and the downs, I've seen them all. And I would say that I have seen signs that McDaniel is working on those things and that Tua is doing his part to facilitate a little more scoring, in that respect. So, they're working on it. I mean, I don't want to give the first year head coach excuse and all that because, as Crypto's always pointed out, the guy started off with bases loaded, and no outs. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
I mean, but at the same time, when you look at some of the decisions that were made, that are directly his responsibility when it comes to could we have won one or two more games last year? Yes, it is valid to say him being a first year coach and basically taking an approach, in my opinion, of it's like when you first start out a game, you might be a great player at video games and you might be a great player at this particular genre. They come out with a new game. You're going to first fire up that game and you're going to just start throwing stuff at the wall until you finally go, you know what? I've seen this and that. I've seen what I can and can't do. Now I'm going to look in the instruction book and tell me how I'm really supposed to play the game. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you learned a lot of what you can and can't do when you just sat down, plugged the cartridge in, fired it up, and started playing it. And I think that's how McDaniel handled his first season. You got all these great weapons. You got all this ability to do things. Just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. Now he knows what slid off the wall and what stuck. And I would hope that I believe he's intelligent enough to, or at least he's shown that to me, to actually make real corrections and fix this issue I know we have when it comes to cashing in a lot more of this yardage for points.
And there's you heard the story, the city of the tale of two cities. Well, here I'm gonna do the same thing here. You got two cities in Florida, Jacksonville, and you got Miami. Both of them have their young, up and coming franchise quarterbacks. Now, one owner got a rookie head coach, and of course, with a loaded roster, and he was a rookie head coach, whatever. And then Jacksonville Jaguars he got an offensive coach too, but the only difference is he got a coach that's a seasoned veteran and someone who won a Super Bowl in Doug Peterson. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
a lot less talented.
There was pros and
cons.
Paper.
Right.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons to both approaches. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Depends on which approach you want. Yep. Get a Hall of Fame coach or a good Super Bowl coach.
Yeah, we'll see in 3 years.
Above average talent. And then in there. Right.
I just don't want, the one thing I don't want for McDaniels is them try to dehumanize him like we did Brian Flores.
Right.
That's why I called for a 10-year contract from the beginning. It might have been hyperbolic to say that, but the sentiment I was trying to illustrate is why I said it. We should have given him a 10-year contract and been done with this nonsense with the revolving door of coaches. Because that's honestly, I think, what our biggest problem has been in the last 25 years.
But Color, despite giving him a 10-year contract, there's no guarantee that Stephen Ross would honor it.
Well, that's fine too. And again, it was still hyperbolic saying 10 years anyway. My point was to say, give somebody a damn chance already.
Yeah, because he's gonna be like, hey, you guaranteed me $50 million. I got that shit in my couch cushions.
Right. It's like, I understand that it's a fast-paced league now and all that, this, that, and the other, but geez, man. And then when you do get rid of him, it's like, what? We've got to like dehumanize the guy,
Yeah,
we did it to Philbin, we did it to Gase, we did it to Flores. We still do it to all three of them coaches.
Yeah,
and you can argue. I'm not going to argue whether they should have been or not, but why? Who are we?
Yeah, exactly.
To sit here and talk about a man's failure when as if everything they do is a failure. Yeah. Okay, so they didn't do well as a football head coach for us. Or this or that or the other, or maybe we'll never know in some of their cases. But why this incessant need to say, oh, well, we made a mistake with this coach, so that coach is a dirtbag.
Yeah. I agree with about dehumanizing Adam Gase. Unless you're listening, Devore, then I disagree. He deserves to be dehumanized. But anyway, that's just between me. That's between me and Devore. That's
Yeah,
something
that's
between
the
me and
board's
Devore.
guy.
Yeah. But anyway, we
I
about
don't
to.
know. I just want the revolving door to stop, and I don't think no matter what happens, no matter what I say about what I believe we're going to do, because what I say about what I think the organization is going to do, and what I think should be done, or can sometimes a lot of times be two different
Two
things.
different things. Yeah.
And so honestly, McDaniel should not be going anywhere anytime soon. If I was the one in control of the reins, even if he was even if we went 6 and whatever last year and this year, so what? Keep going with him. He'll figure it out.
Well, that's why I found that little leak pretty odd about just players getting tired of hearing how the coach speaks. And that came exactly like a week after Stephen Smith criticized, McDaniel for the way he hems and haws in his explanations. I think, it's the media seeding the potential, future destruction of McDaniel, down the line if we don't
And
pan
unfortunately,
out.
Kahari, regardless of whether we all know that Mike McDaniel either took the job knowing with the stipulation that he'd have to roll with Tua, or whether it was forced upon him, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he was promised behind the scenes as far as we're not going to hold you responsible. Just roll with Tua, see what you could do with him, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to hold you responsible. And he could be operating under that assumption. But remember, Stephen Ross made it clear to the public that the quarterback was the decision of quarterback was solely the new head coach's. He said that so that no matter what he told McDaniel behind the scenes, he has culpability to say to the public, hey, I didn't lie to you all. I told him it was his decision. He chose the wrong path. He's fired.
Yeah.
Even if he
Exactly.
told McDaniel, look, to get this job, you have to roll with Tua, but I'm going to go tell the public it's your choice. He don't care. He's a billionaire. So what if he went back on his word against a measly little old guy like Mike McDaniel in life? He don't care. So when it comes down to it, if he needs to fire the guy, it don't matter what the caveats were that he came into the building with. It matters what Ross told the public, and Ross told the public that the quarterback was the head coach's decision. Period.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna say it like I always said. Him saying that it was the coach's decision to keep the quarterback is like my girlfriend telling me you decide what we eat tonight.
Exactly, yeah. Shake. Perfect analogy, man. One other thing I want to point out before we wrap it up was the verbiage change from Stephen Ross that I've pointed it out several times over the last year since we hired Mike McDaniel even. And it always seems to fall on flat ears because, whatever, everybody has their opinion, right?
Yeah.
And some things aren't important to others as they are to me. But hold on, Crypto. When we hired Brian Flores, it was either when we hired him or when we fired him, Ross came out and gave us the definition of insanity.
Yeah, it's when we fired Adam Gase.
Right. And he made it clear that our goal here was to win a Super Bowl, and that bringing in this next guy or whatever, that we thought that was going to give us the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. When he gave his presser, when we hired Mike McDaniel, and everybody was glad handing and shaking hands and, introducing Mike McDaniel to the press and all that, there was a verbiage change from Stephen Ross, and I don't think a lot of people realized it. He added the word hopefully in front of win Super Bowls. He's never done that before. In all the times I've ever heard him speak about winning Super Bowls, he's never added the word hopefully in front of winning Super Bowls.
So you're saying he's had a little bit of doubt now seeping
Well,
in.
it's that either that or it's signaling that he's going to have more patience with Mike McDaniel.
Well, he said he was going to have patience with
Well,
Brian Flores too,
he said
but
he's gonna have
True,
patience
but
with both, all his
but he didn't
Sounds
coaches
add the
like
word hopefully win
exasperation.
to
Super
the point
Bowl. You
where
know
he
what I
forced
mean?
one to tank. Yeah, try to
Yeah.
force one to tank. So he was trying to be patient.
Sounds like exasperation. Like he's come to terms with the fact
Yeah,
that
like
his money ain't
right.
gonna
Oh, I see what
guarantee
you're
him no
saying.
Super Bowl.
I see exactly what you're saying there, Kahari. Like
Yeah.
exactly exacerbation. Like he's like, we're changing this culture. We're bringing this guy in and to hopefully win Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Yeah, I can see that, Kahari. Great take.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean,
But it was
he
a
probably,
clear verbiage change.
yeah,
I'm not sugar. I mean, he
yeah.
did literally. He has never put hopefully in front of those words. You know what I mean? That I
He's the guy
remember.
who brought in Parcells, right? Was that the guy who brought him?
Possibly. That
Yeah,
might have been Wayne
Nah, that wasn't
Huizenga's
Wayne. That
last
wasn't
move. I
Wayne
don't
had
remember.
sold it.
Wayne.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think Wayne
okay,
had already sold the team.
okay.
Yeah,
So I mean,
Parcells the first.
when we brought in Parcells, that was supposed to have been our ticket as an
That
organization.
was
That
supposed to
he
be the
Right.
was going to be the
the
guy to get
true
things
guy that bridged
built.
us over from Shula. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
He
then
messed it
we
up with that
And
number one
why
overall
not think
pick.
that? I mean, it's Bill
Not a
Parcells.
thing.
You know.
right,
Hmm.
and it's just been repeat failure after that. And it's been a cycle of every 3 years we change regimes, and at some point it's got to stop. But dang,
I think Peterson going to Jacksonville and not even really giving us the time of day, bro, is what really struck me as concerning more than anything. Like recently, like
yeah,
I
Peterson's on
mean,
the soil. He
Yeah,
was
because
a backup
we
quarterback
were an
there.
option
you're
for him.
talking about a
Yeah,
Don Shula protege. You
yeah,
know what I mean? You're talking
yeah.
about the guy that won the record-breaking win for Don Shula against Philadelphia, the team that he took to the Super Bowl and won it with.
Yeah.
Right.
And oh, by the way, with his offensive coordinator being his arch rival's backup, so his counterpart in Buffalo, Frank Reich, was his offensive coordinator to win a Super Bowl. So Dan
Hmm.
Marino and Jim Kelly's backup basically won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. That's what we're saying here.
Yep.
And like now he's in Jacksonville. It's like you don't even give the guy a phone
Right.
call. Well, I bet the phone call happened by way of Dan Marino, but in a chit chat conversation like they probably have every day. But he probably, in my opinion, obviously, I have no way to know, but he probably told Marino, "Look, man, I don't want nothing to do with that dumpster fire down there, bro. Sorry.
Yep.
He probably did.
I'm just gonna come up here where there's a lot less,
No
whatever on the
friction.
situation,
Right.
distractions,
There's really no
you
friction
know,
other than Urban Meyer.
whatever
That was
Well,
it.
Urban Meyer, that's
you got
hypocritical
going
too.
on down there. I'm gonna go do this with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, and watch how quick I get it up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're already a contender. They're already have made the playoffs. Didn't they make the
yeah,
playoffs last year?
yeah. They
Yeah,
remember
Won
they
their
had that comeback.
division.
And they
They
actually
had that
won.
comeback. Remember they had that comeback game against the Chargers.
Yeah, won their
Right.
division.
Won
But
a
hey, we're
playoff
not
game.
talking about a stellar division. I get it, but Tennessee's owned that division for
Mhm.
Correct.
very good reasons. Reasons that Jacksonville seems to now be rectifying.
Right.
Yep.
And they didn't play nobody in the division in the playoff game. They played somebody outside the division, and they won that
Yep.
game on the road.
Yep.
So that kind of goes against that notion that they beat up on crappy
Hmm.
teams to win the
Hmm.
division. Well, once they got to the big stage, they beat another team on the road.
So now you're talking about, let's forget about all the other comps. Let's talk about a direct contemporary comparison here.
Mhm.
We had a chance to go after two guys, Doug Peterson, Mike McDaniel. We chose Mike McDaniel. We're busy giving excuses for a first year head coach. Doug Peterson has already won his division.
Yep. And don't forget
Enough
about what
said.
Dayball did in New York either.
Yeah.
With less weapons,
Mhm.
to Tuanier's minds, an inferior quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, an inferior quarterback, exactly. Right. They will. You can't rectify that color. That
mean,
kind of puts them in a box when they
why does it make me a
realize they got to
hater?
give somebody
But
credit
why does
for
it
that.
make me a hater to point out this reality? Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't make you a hater. You're
But
just
it does.
acknowledging there's other aliens in the universe.
I mean,
That's
I've
part
had
of
I've had I've
acknowledging that
had
they
serious
exist.
I've had serious like contemplation over this the last 2 years of doing this, putting my voice out there on YouTube, kind of like, doing shows and stuff like that. And people have come at me, and it's like, I get that we're all supposed to deal with that if we put ourselves out there in the public like that. I get that. I understand the need for a thick skin. But I'm simply pointing it out that I have taken this heat, and all I'm simply doing is pointing out reality. Is it not the case that Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars have already won their division?
Mm-hmm.
With an overpaid wide receiver,
while we're
they got
falling in,
wide receivers
while,
overpaid. Color.
while we're falling into the playoffs with the same record that our last fired, dehumanized head coach achieved.
Yeah, it was literally identical.
Yet we have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, an improved Tua,
and an improved offensive line.
I mean,
offensive line showed some improvement.
It's not my fault that don't add up.
Yep.
And the fact of it is, for people pointing out our 9-8 record, and look, they can throw as much shade as they want on Flores, and I know it's only a 1-season sample size for Mike McDaniel. But as long as people are going to continue to prop him up above our previous coaching staffs the way they do, I'm going to feel compelled to point out the fact that Brian Flores in 3 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, despite this is including the 5-11 season, okay, including that season, Brian Flores has a higher winning percentage than Mike McDaniel.
Yep. Hey, this is his year. This is Mike McDaniel's year to rectify himself.
Yeah, it is something else when you think about the totality.
Sure,
of it.
Shake,
Yeah,
and it's only going to take one more win to do that. I'm not saying it's like miles ahead. I'm just saying for people that put Mike McDaniel above him like that, Mike McDaniel was 9-9 in his first year. That's 500. If you factor out Brian Flores' record, it's above 500.
Yep,
including the tank year what's funny is working with Walmart employees and freaking grocery store baggers.
And Ross already said put it on paper that on wax that it wasn't performance that he got fired.
I know, Shake, but we can say that till we're blue in the face. But everybody knows what was talked about behind the scenes,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking behind the scenes. Speaking behind the scenes,
I got sources that tells me what's going on inside.
On that note, let's wrap this up. My man, Ty, man, I appreciate you. Of course, I love to have you on here more, man. I think you're a great addition to this panel. Any final thoughts, my brother, before we head this out?
I just can't wait till we start playing, man. That's it.
Me too. I can't wait either. September can't come already. We got 3 weeks and we'll be in the swing of
we
things.
get to find out what we got going on here.
Tyreek's like, color, living in the past. We got to get this thing going on, man.
We need to get this going.
Hey, by the way,
tickets to the game 2 at Foxborough. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I'm driving up there 8 hours, man. I'm going to be ready to roll.
We need you there. We need you there. That's great.
This is going to be everybody's final thought. All right. Do we see starters play this game, and how long do you want to see them for?
I'm going to be mad. Shake Money, I'll answer that first. I've been pounding the table. 10 game time minutes. 10 game time minutes.
So what do you say? What do you say, Ty? What do you think?
First half. The entire first half.
First half. Okay, Crypto. What do you find? What say you?
You hear me, Shake Money?
Yeah, I hear you.
10 game time minutes minimum. Now, since we didn't play those 10 game time minutes in the first game, I'm upping it up to a quarter and a half. We got to see them.
Okay, Kari P.
All the starters.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Quarter and a half. up to the whole first half, depending on the effectiveness of the offense. And then, and then we got to get some questions answered on defense as well in terms of our depth. So, yeah.
How about you, Color?
I think I'm with everybody. I think about a quarter and a half. I think then Skyler comes in and gets to play with some of the remaining ones and twos.
Mm-hmm.
Then Skyler plays the third quarter with 2s and 3s, and Mike White comes in to clean it up with the dumpster with the UPS drivers in the fourth quarter to rectify the fact that Skyler hasn't had the same fair opportunity that Mike White has had.
By the way, have you seen UPS drivers are now making $170,000 minimum?
I know, right?
They rejected a 30% raise, and then the union came back and said, "No, we reject this 30% raise, and then we got to come back to the table."
I mean, what do we do?
I was like, why did they turn out 30% pay increase, and they ended up working out for them?
Yeah, we can't do McDonald's workers anymore because they're starting at $15 an hour. I mean, what are we supposed to use anymore?
Yeah. We can't even use them no more.
If my right knee was not bad, I'd be a UPS driver right now.
I can go into that line of work, but I'm on cruise control right now with the postal service.
So if what I'm licensed for in the state of Florida was not federally prohibited, I'd probably be a UPS driver too.
I hear you, man.
Hey, but my thing is, I know this is as crazy as it may sound. One of the things I would like to say, being that again, this preseason isn't really is graded on a pass-fail basis. You know what I'm saying? And Tua could throw the ball away if he has to. I would really like to see this offensive line without Armstead to see.
With the rest of everybody in, I got you.
I want to see. I want to see if they have if he goes down, how this offensive line is going to look.
Right. What you're asking for, Shake. What you're asking for is a preseason version of the Minnesota Vikings game. Is that the one Armstead missed? Or yeah, basically. A preseason version of that game with Tua in it.
That's going to tell us. That's going to really gauge things, because if he misses, and he's the key cog for this offensive line, then you know what I mean. We need contingencies plans early, not in the season.
Shake, there were times last year. I'm gonna be honest with you, and people are gonna hate me for this take, bro. I know it. But it was only a feeling, and we have feelings, and we can't control them. Okay, I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time last season where I had a feeling that one of the ways we got Armstead to sign a contract was with a stipulation that said he would only ever block for Tua.
Yeah,
I actually had that feeling throughout last season. I know it's wrong. You know what I mean? I know it's hateful and all that, but I'm sorry. I felt that way, bro. It's not true.
Color,
I know it's not true.
That's some sci-fi shit right there.
Damn,
I mean,
El Capitan coming
that's
in
some
the
science fiction.
What's going on,
El Capitan?
What up, guys? What's going on?
Not much.
Shake Money, before we get started, I would say this. Mike McDaniel's job is safe because he is hip hop. Remember that. He is a hip hop coach.
That's right.
His job is guaranteed, set in stone.
And we just spent another half hour of yours, bro. Because I mean, we can't just let Capitan come in and come out like that, bro.
That's all good. Yeah.
I'm out of here. See you guys later. Thanks for coming back.
Hey, Crypto, you going too far calling McDaniel hip hop coach, man.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to give him good
options. Lines.
Yeah, he's a hip hop.
Crossing some lines.
I mean, he does wear some nice rides, bro. I got to admit, man. I mean, you know.
Did you see those suede shoes he was wearing the other day? The man was wearing some suede shoes.
Did he have the 3 stripes?
I'm sorry, South Florida suede shoes. Suede shoes.
I don't know if it was the blue suede shoes, but it was some suede shoes. I actually had some blue suede shoes myself. But it's all there.
Wow. Blue suede shoes. I can't even imagine that. That's hilarious. Blue suede shoes, a hot dog in one hand, and a glass of water in the other.
That's it.
And a fedora walking to the Blues Club.
I
So
can't go. I can't go.
The Kango.
well,
Yep.
well, El
Right?
Capitan, let
Okay.
me
Oh,
I want to get your opinion on this. I'll bring you up to speed.
All right.
First things first. Before that'll be your final thought. We'll do that for your final thought. The first thing I brought up the attention to that one of the things that when I'm doing I did a test episode, right? Like to kind of now I'm listening to it on the 53-man roster to improve it, whatever.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of like a bloopers episode. I'm gonna release it for members only, but that's not the point. The thing the thing that brought to my attention is that you have Robert Hunt not under contract next year, Connor Williams not under contract next year, Isaiah Wynn not under contract next year, Taron Armstrong, this is his last year, and so essentially all of our starting offensive linemen, with the exception of Eichenberg, is not under contract next year. And I think next year is where we're supposed to have minimal cap money to spend. What say you of this situation?
Well, okay. So if you're gonna sign guys, even with negative cap, you can salary bonus and then put that cap hit for 2025. So that doesn't worry me at all. To me, I'll tell you what it tells me. Chris Greer is always leaving himself an out. Now, right now, he doubled down and tripled down on what they're doing. So they had the ideology when Chris Greer tore it down with Brian Flores. Got the defense together, got the quarterback for the offense that he has envisioned that he wants to run. Brian Flores, with his success, didn't want to run that style of offense, wanted to kind of be the head coach and run a different style of offense, more conducive to like a pro style offense where, you live and die by the big arm and a strong run game and defense, more of a, it works, but that's not what they want. And it's not what, to be honest, it's not what our owner wants. Our owner, since coming here, has for years now tried to install this West Coast offense with the Dolphins. From Adam Gase to, friggin' Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin was brought here because they were going to install the West Coast offense. Been trying to do it for forever. So he gets off of Flores and now gets Mike McDaniel and has all these weapons to install this system. Now, I don't think Mike McDaniel's in trouble of losing his job, but who knows what happens this season. If it falls off the rails and all this stuff, or Chris Greer's really good at throwing someone else under the bus other than himself, if Tua, falls apart and it means they're going to try to go in a different direction, they can get a different coach and a different quarterback, or vice versa. Keep the coach and get a different quarterback or something. I don't know. My point is that Chris Greer is always leaving himself an out. And to me, when you look at the offensive line and the constructed contracts on offense, you could pivot completely in ideology and whatever way. Now, will it be good for us as Dolphin fans? No, it'll be a pivot year. Those take 2 years. It's a built-in 1-year excuse with a new scheme. I can't stand it, but it's just what it looks like, doesn't it? Now they've tripled down with this from what they wanted with Tua, what Flores said they couldn't get. They got rid of Flores and doubled down with a Mike McDaniel to build it. And now they're tripling down with Mike McDaniel and running back the offense to see if they can take another step and have some momentum. And if it doesn't and it falls apart one way or the other, Chris Greer is going to pull the plug, at least with the offensive thing. I don't think Mike McDaniel will go, but who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? Am I off?
No, I
No,
agree
it
with
sounds
you.
about, echoing all
Sounds
of our
about right.
sentiments pretty much.
Right.
The fact of it is, whoever doesn't show up along that line that Shake listed doesn't have to be compensated. So we could easily use that to cull them right out. And anybody that's still left deserves the money anyway, and it'll probably be easier to factor them some money. Anybody new we bring in is going to have to take what we give them.
Good news is, and two things are pretty consistent in that West Coast scheme. You don't need a bell cow running back. You can do it by committee. In fact, it's better served by committee with guys that have varying skill sets to put in rotation to expose whatever kind of defensive personnel you're going against. And then two, you really only need a bookend to have as your like number one offensive weapon on the line. You know, you need like a top tier left tackle or a top tier center or something like that. But the other guys, really just guys that I don't want to say are interchangeable because that's just ridiculous. But one goes down, next man up, and because of the scheme and the blocking scheme, and we're going to see a lot more of that this year because we're going to use our sixth offensive lineman, aka the tight ends, in a more blocking scheme. And my time at camp when Color and I went up there and we ran into Cap for life and stuff like that, one thing I was looking for was something I looked for all year last year that I was anticipating we would get a lot more of when Mike McDaniel came to us. And it was this outside zone that essentially it's almost like after the ball snapped and the offensive lineman, 2 seconds down the play when the ball is handed off and the running back is making his way up to the line of scrimmage, and the offensive linemen have now moved off the line to set their blocks. It's whoever's the man that's job is to get to the second level. It really depends on who gets on what side of the shoulder he gets on. That'll open up the lane. So if, say, the guard's responsibility on the left side is to go out and set the edge on the linebacker. If the linebacker gets outside of him and he has to take his inside shoulder, then the running back would bounce back inside. If he gets out there fast enough and sets it on his outside shoulder, the running back will stay, straight. If there's nothing there and everyone's chipped up and faced up from the left tackle, guard, tight end, whoever's out, coming back across the middle, then you would bounce it to the outside. That's how the outside zone scheme works.
Yep, and it's the center that during the play points all these blocks out to the various linemen. Like he'll actually point to the second level guy that this tackle over here is supposed to go meet, while the play is going on. That's how intelligent the center has to be in this type of system.
So when it's executed properly and done with that perfect outside zone running lane, it literally looks like a box. You could literally draw the four guys of the offensive linemen on top of their four guys. Sometimes the fourth guy hasn't even met his block if you catch him slipping by, running to your weak side. And, you get, say, a wide receiver to clear out the lane. There's nobody even out there. That guard or tackle is going to be able to run out free. And you see this in the NFL and find a safety. And that's when you take it to the house because you got one man to beat and a blocker, unless you, and now there's, extremely talented football players, so a linebacker or somebody can come across the formation and try to get you from behind. But with a guy like A-Chain, if these blocking lanes are going to be out there and he's just going to buzz right by and hit to the edge and take it all the way. My point is that when I was doing a lot of film study when we hired Mike McDaniel, I really wanted to see that type of running lanes, and we didn't get to see them last year. We didn't have them. A lot of stuff was just bounce to the outside, let the guys use their speed because there was mix up in the scheme. We shuffled a lot of guards, shuffled a lot of the offensive linemen, everything like that. But now in the short practices that I've seen, not only live but on video, and even in the preseason game, you can literally see where they're setting it out, and there's that perfect lane to the edge, and there's really only like a safety or a corner, a nickel that's out there on the edge, where if you get lucky, sometimes there's only one man to beat with that running back if he hits it good, and that's when you get those explosive plays.
And if the defense loads that side to counter that, that's where you get the cutback counter trap. And unfortunately, we did see that last year, Capitan. It just wasn't on our team. It was Christian McCaffrey taking it to the house on us.
Exactly. Now we that's why you get a dynamic running back like Christian McCaffrey, and maybe A-Chain can be that with his shiftiness and his contact balance speed that he has. But to me, you don't necessarily have to pop one 50 yards. If you're just doing this effectively enough in and out of downs, the only thing that what's going to happen is they're going to have to load the box to give too many linebackers to fill the gap or bring a safety down to fill the gap, forcing them in single high safety, which if you do that on us, and this is where Tua is at his best, is recognizing that safety coming down in the box right before the snap to play action that, we are going to get one-on-one matchups at all three levels of the
touchdown
field.
Tyreek.
That is literally going to murder
whenever we
people.
want it.
It's going to be there for whenever you want it. The one thing I would really hope now, a bread and butter thing for offenses that don't operate in this with this much movement is that 15-yard out. Some of these defenses are great. They got top tier defensive linemen that make it rough for holding their gaps and holding their blocks to not let the guys get by them to set those edges. Some have great linebackers who can beat take a beeline and beat their blockers inside and blow up the run game. So that 15-yard out is something that I'm hoping we see Tua hit enough of those in the season, because what it'll do is it'll force one of the safeties to that side of the formation, depending on the target you're taking up, and it'll be a too high shell, but there'll be one playing down in the box, and you can almost anticipate by what you're running to see when he's going to come up and put himself in the box and still find your matchups, or it gets them to hesitate because you're hitting that and your run game is gouging them. It's just a chess match of me maneuvering your defense and what I wanted to maneuver pre-snap for what I plan to do post-snap. That's it. It's run, pass, run, pass, run, pass.
And the great thing about it is 95% of the time, your guys are lined up exactly how they were the last play. It's like every single play is coming out of the same damn formation in the same lineup.
Excellent point, Color. Because, yes, it's going to look the same. And you're going to go, well, damn, it's literally the same motion where Tyreek's out wide, comes into the slot, and takes the inside slot tight to formation, and he's running that.
Geez, Buffalo and Thurman Thomas did that to us for so many years. It was literally the same type of system, just not quite as complex and advanced as it is, these days. They didn't even call it a West Coast back then. Nobody would say Marv Levy was running a West Coast, but it kind of was. I mean, it was a lot of outside zone blocking, counter trap schemes. They called it a K gun back then. I mean, the way what Capitan is describing to me is what the Buffalo Bills did to us for 4 or 5 years straight with the Marv Levy offense.
The only thing that really comes into play is in when you have an offense that operates like that, because it's a systematic thing. It has to get going. Now, you can get lucky early on and gouge them for a run, and now you force them to be worried about the run. You can get lucky early in the game and put a dart on them, and now you're forcing them to play deep so you can run on them. But sometimes people come in, and it's just a back and forth. So really, what's the key setup situation with the defense coupled with the offense is play make. Big plays being made. Sacks for loss, forcing them deep into their own territory to punt. And then also that trickery where there's going to be guys at times that are not, there's not going to be a freelance, because they're going to be able to, it's going to be, great communication in the back end. But there's going to be, with that too high shell, these safeties and these corners are going to get deep, or safeties are going to come up and they're going to jump these routes in this zone. And those types of interceptions in this chess match with what you're doing on offense, before you know it, you're turning around and now you're playing catch up, and you just got now you then make that team's offense have to go, all right, I have to throw this 15-yard out. I have to take shots. I gotta catch up. And you put them in situations where they take shots, and now you're playing right into your defense's hand. I don't know why people are tripping about this team. It seems super obvious what they're trying to do defensively and offensively, and they have the talent to do it all. And only in certain matchups against certain opponents are going to give us troubles because of just star power alone.
Well, it's
But
funny
even
you ask,
then,
Capitan, because I think we've been Pollyannish long enough. The criticisms of this type of system. A lot of times I think coaches that run it trust in it so much and believe in it so much. Because listen, the way we just described it seems like it's unstoppable, you know, and it kind of is if you execute 100%. So
that's right.
But I think what happens a lot is these coaches that run it get so confident that they'll run a 3 and out. They'll throw plays away sometimes because they're like, oh, we'll get it back, and we got, since we got this great scheme, we can make up for it.
Adam
When they
Gase is a
don't
victim of
realize
that
that
shit.
they're right, when they don't realize that they're constantly bleeding out their defense every time they go 3 and out like that, and especially in a place like Miami where your defense gets bled out pretty quick.
Another great point. That like they'll live to fight another down type of shit. We used to see Adam Gase do that a lot. You would like, why are you running that same dumbass screen? Well, it's because if they take the bait on that screen and keep somebody off down in that box, I'm gonna catch them slipping on the double move. But we didn't have the talent to hit them with the double move. You know what I'm saying? And so
right. Which means when you get down 2 scores, you have no ability to race back.
That's right, and that's where hopefully it's one thing that it looks like Mike McDaniel is wise enough to know. You need stars.
Well,
that
obviously,
can do
given the Ravens
shit.
game last year, he's wise enough. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the Ravens game kind of shows he is wise enough.
Some of these old school coaches that run that scheme when it runs to perfection, you can run it with, middling talent and execute it perfectly and beat even the best of teams. But football's not a perfect science. And now that it's more of an air raid type of thing,
football is not a perfect science. The triple option is a perfect science.
I don't know about that, but anyhow, because of how talented everything is, and that's why these guys get paid. You now, if you are behind, you can't just say, well, I'm just going to churn away. We'll get there eventually. We'll let them make a mistake. That's what the Patriots did and what they believed was their bread and butter. But the reality was that they had the greatest damn quarterback of, to ever play the game up to date, that when the going got tough and plays needed to be made, he would get them made with guys that he had. He elevated those guys with his play as well. And so it's easiest if you can get a guy who could be perfectly systematic and he's a superstar at quarterback. But that's like harder to find a guy. It's harder to find a guy like that, obviously, than a guy with a really good arm or a guy that's really good at the system. You need like the trifecta. You need a guy with a good enough arm, great at the system, has the brain, the work ethic. Like, it's so much. But this defense
I think
has
that
the
could
ability.
be to it. I'm not. Me, no faith and all that, but I think that could be to it. I don't think that the arm is below the quality of strength that you need for that, Capitan. To your point about arm strength and of course the system you refer to requires a highly intelligent quarterback when it comes to reading defenses.
More so than just reading defense, because anyone can not anyone, but a lot of these quarterbacks can read defenses, especially if you're going to be this type of team. To be great, it's not read the defense; it's know thy enemy. Knowing that, I'm going to read this defense, but I know that linebacker who's down in the box is so and so. And I know that he's smart enough to try to bait me to show me he's down in the box, but he's going to drop right back into the zone. Is Tua going to be that guy?
Right. So the reading defense extends into after the snap of the ball as well. You know what I mean? That's what I meant by needing to read defenses.
So here's the thing: when you're needing to read a defense, you got to quarterbacks that are typically like Tua, that know this system and can run it to perfection, we'll say, You got to know that enemy because that linebacker's baiting you and drop back in coverage. Now, if you had the rocket arm, it wouldn't matter because you can force it into a fucking, into a tiny little window.
A la
But
Nick
that's
Foles.
that's well, I don't know about Nick Foles. He could do that, but not elite. But he could do it elite enough. We'll say that. All right.
In an
Anyhow,
RPO, that's all you need.
I got you. But you typically these quarterbacks don't have elite arms that can put a fucking heater, a 10-yard heater
Of
that
course.
a great guy can fucking not get to in the nick of time. Because what
course.
you're saying is post snap, you're gonna look to that linebacker to throw to that zone spot because you pre-snap read him in the fucking box,
Yep.
but he's freelancing and dropping back into coverage because he's a superstar linebacker and knows what to do to make a play. And so that's the type of shit that like Tua can't be that guy.
John
'cause he doesn't
Elway
have
would
the
just
arm.
John Elway would just
John Elway
bounce
would
the
run.
ball off that guy's
Run.
chest. Or
He would
bounce
run.
the ball off that guy's chest. He threw it so hard.
But okay, so my point is that now he's got to be the other type of guy that knows thy opponent and that I know that linebacker. I've watched the film. I've seen what he's done to other guys. So he thinks he's going to sit in that soft zone spot and catch me slipping. Little does he know, I'm calling a check at the fucking line, and that cross route now is a button hook. You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to be able to get in front of there. He's going to be standing there, and I'm going to take him out of the play. So that's how you counterbalance the chess match from a quarterback to take this to the next level to be an elite operator of this offense.
Right.
He's
right. Now
to be elite.
imagine running this type of system with a guy like John Elway, right? I mean, damn, and I'm joking when I say imagine because you can actually go back and watch it. They won 2 Super Bowls under Mike Shanahan with Terrell Davis and John Elway.
Again.
And Shannon Sharp.
And Shannon Sharp. And that's
Shannon Sharp.
And McCaffrey too. Don't forget McCaffrey.
But you could do it the other way.
Hell yeah.
You could do it the other way, and it's been proven that you can. That you don't need a guy with an arm like Elway.
Well, you're right. You're right because the system itself was designed for a guy with lesser arm. That's literally why the 49ers had success with it with Montana, who wasn't the strongest arm in the world.
So yeah, that's pretty much how. And there's things that you can hope to make up. So they've kind of done a good job at giving this time as well, because Tua is taking steps every year in his quarterback, deal. Whether
that I agree with, bro. That I do have faith in because time heals everything, bro. You know what I mean? Time,
more than just
makes
heals,
everybody grow.
As long as he's doing what he needs to do as a pro, to do that part, to study his. You can study the defense. No different than how Zach Thomas would do it.
Right. It's
no
certainly
different than how Zach Thomas
upon him
would do it.
for sure. It's certainly contingent upon him not sitting on the couch and being a sloth. Right. Absolutely.
So with those things in consideration, even though there's going to be growing pains still, he's still a young quarterback. Let's be real; it's his 4th year, and I feel like his arm is definitely stronger. So, but they've also had contingency plans to say, you know what, we have a superstar. We've got 2 superstars with Waddle and Hill. We've got other guys that have talents that, if I give them the ball in this situation, they are a superstar.
I mean, bro, what have I always said around here, bro? We don't need Tua to throw 70-yard balls. We need him to throw deeper than the deepest safety. That's it.
Yeah.
If we can find a way to draw that safety up, good for us. That's throwing deeper than the deepest safety. It doesn't matter how deep down the field it is. You know what I mean?
That's facts. That's so much facts. Like
I've said it so many times. It's like,
so much.
The reason I'm sound frustrated is because I don't want to beat an old dead horse, but I've gotten so much heat for hating Tua, yet I've repeated what I just said 1,000 times. I mean, I've literally said that 1,000 times, that Capitan. What do you think? I mean, we just need him to throw deeper than the deepest safety. And then it's up to McDaniel to get that safety to be as shallow as he could possibly be.
But
by the
even
time
so,
Tua throws the ball.
schematically, you manipulate to bring the safety in the box.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But even so, whether Tua is still, I don't think he'll ever possess the arm that. I mean, look, I feel like it is stronger than I seen last year.
Maybe if he
without a
keeps
doubt.
throwing that dad bod, dude, you never know, man. I mean,
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I remember seeing it live in action in 2020 and 2021, or excuse me, from his rookie year to now in camp that I just seen. That arm has gotten stronger
and
every
there's no
single year.
doubt it's gotten, not only that, he's gotten noticeably bigger. I mean, go back and watch the very first play we ever brought him in on.
Oh, bro, he was a little baby. He was a
I
baby.
mean,
He
you're
was a
like, does this
college
guy
kid.
even, it ain't no wonder I said stupid things like that back then. Like, does this guy even belong in the league? I mean, just go back and watch. And then go back and watch the last game he played in. And you'll be like,
But
okay.
still, I don't have any worries about his body. Anything he puts more with strength and throwing is cheddar on top, because I even at his younger form, I thought he had plenty of arm strength to get the job done.
Sure,
So,
it just didn't
but
look the part,
But they've crossed their T's and dotted their I's by putting talented playmakers where, again, if he can do these rocket arm things, sure, but I don't think you ask him to do those things. What you do is you jet sweep with fucking Izukama while Tyreek and Waddle clear out the other side of the field with the fucking by taking 9 routes. You know what I'm saying? You do things like that to sideline the defense, and they've got plenty of talent to manipulate the defense
and
with
the
their
speed
superstars.
to do it. We've obviously got the speed to control the secondary that
But
way.
even not just using your superstars with the ball in their hands, but using them for the other players to be superstars with the ball in their hands on offense. And then on the other side of that, on defense, now they're still trying to keep that mix up hybrid style defense that Flores had, but we're gonna get the Fangio, the friggin' Fangio 2 high with the 4 high, and to me, that defense just getting marginally better in the turnover margin, and sacks.
The saddest part of our defense, bro, is when it's 3rd and 19 and we give up a first down. God, that kills me, bro. We did that so many times last year, bro.
That was a weakness that I expect to see turned into a strength.
I mean, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like, the worst
have
defense in the world with a prevent could freaking stop 19 yards, man. Come on.
You want to know how you do that? You have too many linebackers and D linemen playing fucking screens and dump off passes as if someone's going to take 2 or 3 yards. You know what I think in that situation? That's the defense practicing against our offense and getting cooked by it and scared to get cooked by another team.
Right. I got you. So they end up leaving all the underneath shit worth 20 yards. Yeah, I got you.
Hey, I got to head out. You guys want to continue and you guys close it out, or you just want to? We'll wrap it up now.
We can wrap it up now if you like, Shake. I think we're already we're hitting the 3 hour mark.
Right at 3 hours.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and close it up, Jake.
All right, cool. And to get your final thought,
what a chop session, Cap. That was great.
By the way, to get your final thought, because we get everybody's final thought. What the starters? How long do you want to? Do you want to see them? How long do you want to see them for this game?
Am I to start?
Yeah.
You're the only one that hasn't answered.
Okay. Well, then good. Bro, I don't want to see the starters. Okay, a quarter, and depending on how that quarter goes, whether good or bad, maybe to the half. But I don't need answers to the talent that I know I have. You know what I'm saying? I know what I have. I don't need them taking anything else. What I'd like is to answer the questions I have, and that's who's the depth guys here, who's starting in here, how does it look, defense, who's the depth guys in these areas. Those are the questions I need, because to me, what do they hold, 38 guys out of the game? Those 38 guys, outside of Jalen Ramsey, who's going to be put on, IR after the season starts, they're all playing in starters, or at least high level backups. I mean, even like a guy like Keon Crossan, he's not a starter, but he's a starter on special teams. You know what I'm saying? So all those guys are going to be on the team. Who are the remaining 53? Not 53, but what, 20 or 15 spots that are left? 14 spots that are left. I need to know who those guys are. That's the questions I need to answer. I want to see the starters out there, and who are the other guys that get plays with the starters. If starters are out there and I see Eric Ikuzama in the starting lineup, that's going to be very encouraging type of thing. And same thing with the defense. If Noah Igbenogany is out on the field and not Eli Apple opposite of Xavier Howard in the first quarter when the starters are playing, I'll be watching that closely. That's the stuff I'm interested in seeing. Who's the guys that are going to be played a lot in their positions in real game football, not a guy who's coming in because we got a problem with an injury or guys nicked up or something like that. Who's taking the next step in the role? Is Andrew Van Ginkel going to be playing middle linebacker next to Jerome Baker? You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. That's the shit I want to see. What's that look like?
Yeah, that's legit, man. And that's what I kind of said. And one of the things I said was, I want to see this offensive line without Terron Armstead. See what it's going to look like once he gets.
But I don't want to see Tua in there without Terron Armstead testing it. You feel me?
That's what we want to see, or at least me anyway.
Yeah,
I want to. We have to test
hey,
it.
listen, he doesn't. Yeah, he could throw away the ball. So you know what I'm saying. He doesn't have to hang on to that ball. So it's not like life or death situation on a preseason game.
I tell you what, if they are putting say Lamb,
anyways.
If they are putting Lamb at left tackle, and Tua's going to be out there, and someone gets past him, I hope Tua is practicing his throwing the ball away.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, so because it's only preseason, but then of course we'll have to make sure that we back him up Monday, Capitan, if people start throwing shade on Tua for that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, Armstead wasn't in. We told him to throw the ball into the dirt.
Bro, I'm not a fan that
do that in the game too. Don't worry
I'm not a fan.
Completion percentage.
If the Dolphins beat the freaking Atlanta Falcons last week 35-0, I'm not going, this is the greatest team ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the other guy where we don't only score 3 points and throw 3 interceptions in the red zone and 2 of them on fourth down. I'm not going, this team is fire Chris Greer, So I'm not one way or the other. Pretty level-headed about it. Now,
sure.
I'm all here for overreaction and getting messy. That's fun too. But some of these people are out of their damn mind.
I'm telling you. Hey, Shake, one other thing before you wrap it up. I want to start the hashtag. What's ailing Jalen? I want to know.
Which one?
His Jalen Waddle. You know his timeline is now indefinite for his return, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it progressed. A day, out of practice, then a couple. He might be down a week, but it's no big deal. Now it's indefinite, I saw yesterday in an article, bro. I want to know, what's ailing Jalen? Hashtag what's ailing Jalen, man. We got to find out.
Well, with that being said, man.
This is why I say Tyreek needs to get some reps, too. Just to, just to get warm, get the blood juices flowing.
Yeah. But anyway, I like to thank my man Ty for showing up, Winters, and of course the newest members of the Fin Tailgate, and of course the boss man himself. That's one of the reasons I kind of joined here, man. To chop it up with you on panels, man. I enjoy everybody here, and this is going to be a great season, man. With that being said, Fins up. I'm out.